414 stand up. What it do? What it do? A special show tonight. Outlaw Radio. Oh my God! On a Thursday evening. And normally I know you. If you listen to the show, if you support the show, you say, "Well, normally it's Mondays and Wednesdays." Well, last night we didn't come on because I had some things I had to take care of. So I said I still want to do 2 shows this week. So here it is. What should have been the Wednesday evening show becomes the Thursday evening show. So tell a friend and tell a friend. Outlaw Radio is on deck on a Thursday evening. Oh my God. A lot to talk about tonight. As usual. I mean, there's just the media just feeds. Social media just feeds you. Your timeline explodes. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is so easy to access in terms of information. So it's always something to talk about, in particular if you are a person of color, a Black person, a foundational Black American, if you will. It's always something to talk about. It's been a very interesting week. So far, 2025 has not disappointed. We're halfway through this year. This has been one hell of a year on multiple fronts. It started last year, it seemed like. The whole thing with the Cat Williams thing, and I go back to point this out. The Cat Williams thing to start off the year 2024, and then it was just an avalanche of the truth, what's really going on, who did this, who did that, who's an asshole, who's an angel, and so it just a tidal wave of everybody and anybody getting exposed to the point where we're here now looking at what we're looking at. P. Diddy on trial right now, right? Like the Me Too movement, the canceling, if somebody did something 30 years ago and the person who they done it to is still alive to tell the story, it's hell to take to the captain for that individual, even if it's an accusation that turns out to ultimately not be true. The accusation of being accused of doing something, left of the line, you're still frowned upon, even if you are, proving that you didn't do it, just a stain of the accusation. So there's a lot right now that people are debating. That's my whole point with this conversation, is that we are living in a time in which information is everywhere, good, bad, fake, real, mainstream, underground, whatever you want to call it, it's everywhere. And then everybody in turn forms an opinion, and everybody has a phone, and everybody has a social media account. So there are 1 million platforms that you can listen to or watch. And I always say, anytime you are tuned in with Outlaw Radio, I'm glad you chose mine. and I would just ask that you share it. We have a phone number, 262-202-5131. 262-202-5131. We're normally on Mondays and Wednesdays. Like I said, I just decided that I should do 2 shows this week. And shout out to the people who really support us, who hit me up when I don't do one. And it's like, Kev, what's happening, man? Let's get the show. Because it's always something to talk about. Like I said, I'm going to get into why I chose Oh My God. And it wasn't an accident. There's a method to my madness. There's a reason why I said the theme of the show tonight would be Oh My God. Because we use that terminology very lightly, but I don't know if we really understand what we're saying or the significance of the statement, oh my God. We'll get into that. People say, Kevin, don't get that deep early. I don't have to, but that's something we'll talk about tonight. And like I said, when I look at society, because more often than not, there's a conversation about the moral compass, like things that we used to consider what's moral and what's not. The conversations, the discussions that we have, the demonstrations that we see, there used to be limits, I guess. And I guess that's what the morals exist, like the moral compass existed of, is like, okay, don't go too far. Don't go here. Don't stoop that low. But now it's all, everything is everything, right? Nobody nobody pulls punches, except for when it comes to those words. And I did a show about a month ago now, probably it's called Trigger Words. And I talked about some of the words that really set people off and some of the words you can say that's going to get you crippled, taken down, removed, ostracized, that kind of thing. Ace Cooley in the chat room. What up, my brother? He said, damn, I'm surprised to see you on tonight. Yeah, I explained that because we weren't on last night, Ace, and I really was committed to doing 2 shows this week. So last night I did put a post up. I don't know if people paid attention. I said we had to reschedule and we would do the show tonight. So tonight is a special Thursday edition of Outlaw Radio. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ewok, shout out to Ewok out in AZ. He said, welcome to Outlaw Radio featuring the Walks World Experience. Wow. And you thought about that too. You conceptualized. That's what's up. Appreciate it. Y'all bang the line. It's going across the bottom of the screen, 262-202-5131. I want to say, okay, so let's start with the hottest topic. And I'm a man of a certain age. So what a lot of people might think is the top news for me probably is not going to be your top news. The top news for me is still what's going on in Los Angeles. Because this, like I said, this is an ultimate poker game. This is a show of our president who has told us what he would do and how he would do it versus the people who are standing up saying, oh, hell no, you ain't. But we said some things in our discussion the other night on the show in regards to the fact that at this point, these raids and this real illegal immigration enforcement is mostly affecting Latinos. And that's why what's going on in LA is primarily Latinos. And then I seen some things that said, Latinos were calling black people out saying, where are you? And we kind of got lost in the conversation about how we should be moving during this whole episode. Like black people, I seen people saying black people stand down. You know what I'm saying? Like Latinos don't like us. They've always felt like they were entitled and they were better than us. And I said I didn't have any Latino friends or acquaintances, but I was wrong. So I'm here to say that. I want to shout out Robert Miranda because Robert Miranda is cool and Robert Miranda is my brother. And he is a Latino from the South Side. And I guarantee you, if anything was moving that we needed to get mobile about or mobilize about, if I called Robert, if he could be there, he'd be there. So I want to shout him out and say, I just got caught up in the moment, man. Now, I still feel like that this is something that Latinos should and probably will figure out on their end. Because the thing is, they're not all illegal. You have some Latino Americans, right? Who, whatever resources you have, whatever you have in terms of being able to plan, and because you have this built-in solidarity. So I'm hoping that you can somehow utilize. Yeah, hope y'all can hear me. Something conked out on me, but I'm back. Okay, make sure everything's cool. Ace Cooley said, this ain't our fight, fam. He's in the chat room. He said, this ain't our fight, fam. They are cool individuals, but collectively, they do not respect us. First of all, I just had to give it up to my brother, Robert Miranda. Like, because I shouldn't have said I didn't know. I always tell people, be careful what you say. Words mean something. And I said I didn't have any Latino, but I do. Robert was just on the show. I've been rocking with Robert for a long time. And once again, he's a Latino man that I know that will come. If I say, Robert, we over here, boom, 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 he's going to say, if I can be there, I'm going to be there, brother. If I can't, I'm not going to be able to be there. So, but no, that's the complexity of it, Ace, is that I do kind of feel like it's not our fight, but I think maybe it is in some kind of strange way. Because anytime something's happening to somebody else, there's a distinct possibility that it could happen to you. Now, once again, I talked about the fact that, especially as foundational Black Americans, and I'm a person who supports the delineation movement and the foundational Black American movement, we do now have to identify as Americans, Black Americans. So when the onus turns on, well, you know, y'all gonna be next, but I'm an American. So my Black people who don't agree with me, I know they're saying, Kev, you ain't American, this fuck this country and all this. I feel like since we basically built this country and we are a part of every movement that ever occurred in this country, and we are a part of every innovation that ever occurred in this country, we might as well take credit for being from this country. That's just my personal thing. And to really stand and make that more of a case against some of the things that have happened to us in the form of discrimination, segregation, racism, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, y'all chime in on that, because a lot of Black people are passionate about this, that, you know, this is not our fight. So Mario G, Steel Gmo Capone Thompson, he said, you all do know a police just got shot on 46 in Hampton. I did not know that. So shout out to Gmo Capone. But Hampton's going crazy. What's going on Hampton? 4, 5, 6 people, 7 people been shot on Hampton, 2, 3 deaths, and now a police officer. What's going on Hampton? I don't live that far from Hampton. 46 in Hampton. That's not far. It's a skip, but it's not far from where I live. If anybody got the insight on what's really going on over there on Hampton, somebody please tell me. Like, I don't. And it's teenagers. There was 4 people shot in one day on a Friday, and then and I think 2 of them died, and then there was another teenager who's just found shot in the alley the other day, and he had deceased. I mean, was found deceased, or pronounced deceased at the scene. Excuse me. What's going on Hampton? Somebody please put me up on this. This is crazy. And now a police officer shot? Whoa. See, once again, back to my statement, why I called the show tonight. Oh my God. It's the time when you're saying, oh my God, you are basically, if you have any kind of relationship with a higher power, you're calling on him to say, what's going on? I need some instruction. I need some clarity. I need some, what's going on? And people just say it. Oh my God. OMG. Like, who is your God? Who are you calling on? That same person to tell you they don't believe in God and then put OMG up. Man, conversation and communication is very twisted. He said, check it. I'm surely gonna look on. I'm on the air right now, but of course I'm gonna look into it. Ace says it should have been our fight, but they get on their racism too. We tried to partner with their asses, so now they having the fuck around and find out moment. I feel like it's callous for us to look at it like that, though. It's almost like laughing at your brother when he getting his ass whooped, and for the first time y'all ain't getting whooped together, and you ain't getting a whooping, so you laughing at him like, aha, he getting his ass whooped. You know, it just feels kind of, I don't know, cold-hearted. And I do understand that that's the way we've been treated. I understand that that's how people have always, our struggle has been cold, right? Like, man, it's cold-blooded. So, you know, I get all of the people who have an issue with it. I'm just saying how it makes you feel, how you feel about it. Gmo said, initially I heard someone else was shot also. They're not saying much about that or the suspects or suspect. Yeah, I guess that's developing news, man. I just happened to be live while it's going on. I wasn't aware. I hadn't seen that. I was on like Facebook or whatever before the show started, but obviously now I'm not. But yeah, man, so much crazy. Like, it's just June. It's early June. Are we at 60 homicides yet? That would make it what, 10 murders a month on average? It's crazy. And I don't hear a plan for it. As a matter of fact, what is the truth to the fact that this is the 7th district? They said the other night, and this is in the People's News Network, which is our sister group. Did they have one police officer on duty in the 7th district? It's like the largest district, 200,000 people. And that's relevant to our show and our conversations because we talked about the other night. We'd like to know what the plan, how are they policing the city? When you see the map and you see these occurrences in a centrally located area almost, I'm like, okay, so y'all can't police that area. I get it. It's random. Things are happening. And I'm not necessarily indicting individuals. I'm more or less indicting organizations. Because like I said, you have enough. You think about how much vacant property is actually in that area. In these areas, we're talking about Burleigh Center. We're talking about North Avenue. We're talking about these long stretches that were once main veins throughout the city that had business after business after business. And now it's just vacant real estate. How don't you have a satellite station? So you was making a big fuss. I mean, I'm talking to the organization. They were making a big fuss about we need police back in schools. We need police present in neighborhoods. So why not make satellite police stations? Like you spread out, you spread your resources out, and then you coordinate via radio and utilizing the technology that you have, right? This is just me. I'm no police strategist. But we're talking about Hampton, 46th to 49th in Hampton. And it's this crazy in a week. To the point now where a law enforcement officer has been shot over there, according to my brother, G-Mo Capone. He says this city has become so unsafe. What the fuck? I think there's yes, it's you got to look at it like that now with the reckless driving and this wanton homicide all early in the year. Yes, it's very unsafe. It's very unsafe. Kamar, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the Thursday night edition
of Thursday night edition. It's been a long time since we was on a Thursday night.
Yeah, a long time, a very long time.
Remember we used to do Thursdays.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can recall doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then Saturday at one point. Yeah. So if people say, "Kev, how'd you do more shows?" I'm like, I'm straight right now.
Talk about.
Yeah, but I have an issue. I have an issue with oversaturation. Like I don't ever want our platform to be oversaturated. But also, this is a time, man, where just there's so many podcasts. And shout out to everybody who has a platform. But it's kind of oversaturating. It's watered down because people say, I have enough money for a camera, the internet, and a microphone. I'm going to do a podcast. They're treating it like it's not an art form, right? Like it's to be able to do this and really have substance and really be able to have integrity. It's an art form. And it always has been. That's why you have radio, and terrestrial radio is dying out. So naturally, internet radio kind of picked up its slack, but it turns into 9 million podcasts, most of which last 3 months.
Right. And and the reason for that is, I always say this, whatever you're doing in life, you need to love what you're doing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people ain't loving what they doing. A lot of people want attention. That's what social media, the whole thing with social media pretty much. They want people to look at me, look at this attention. And you know what I'm saying? And it really don't be all that it's cracked up to be, that they thinking it's going to be cracked up to be. They don't understand the work that it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to watch a lot of news. You got to watch different other podcasts. You know what I'm saying? You watch and learning about certain people. It's so much to learn and so much to do to keep up to date with something to talk about. And most people just want to talk about the same old shit. You know what I mean? Like, the conversation only go as far as new age hip hop, not even old school hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what they appease to. And just like that, man, it ain't solid enough to last, to stand on.
And this is, first of all, for anybody who's listening, they may say, well, this is hypocritical because you're on a podcast down in other podcasts. First of all, I'm not downing anything or anyone. I'm not a hater. This is a hater-free zone. What I'm talking about is the actual art form of production and broadcasting. It's now quantified as podcasting or content creation, right? And it's dope because I love the new black media. It's dope, but I'm just saying
I got another one.
I've been doing, but when we first started, it wasn't called podcasting. It was called internet radio, but that's not an excuse. I studied radio. I went to college for radio. I got a bachelor's degree in radio. I did college radio. I just could never catch the microphone here. And so I feel like Outlaw Radio sometimes get lumped into just another podcast. And I don't want it to just be that, because every time you hear our show, I want to have discussions that either entertain you or enlighten you, and sometimes both. It's really not just about me. I have no desire to be famous, right? That's the irony of this. I don't have no desire to be no celebrity, but I do enjoy sharing information with people. I'm a former public school teacher. I'm a mentor. I was a coach, a football coach. I love sharing information with people. So that's kind of like why I do it. Not that y'all need to know my personal business. I'm just saying, if you tuning in, you're like, what these motherfuckers talking about? Y'all doing a podcast, nigga. But it's, that's just.
Hey, I was just finna jump in when I was about to cut you off, but I was finna allude to what you had said about how you went to school for it and everything. You know what I'm saying? That also shows how much more you have a love for it. You know what I mean? You really got to love this if you're going to do it. I tried it a long time ago on my own, and I ain't like it. I mean, I'd rather be the sidekick. You know what I'm saying? I'm riding the passenger seat. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. You know what I mean? I know where I'm best. You know what I'm saying? I know where I'm more comfortable. But, I think, like I say, I think a lot of people do that. But it's so much to learn. Like you got, like you say, you went to school for it. Like learn how to listen to people sometimes. Right. A lot of people don't know how to listen to people. They don't know how to listen to understand. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big deal, because now you ain't a good host because you don't make it pleasurable for your guests.
There's a lot of nuances.
Yeah, right? It's so much to it, man. It's just
like hip hop. Like in the beginning, you had a selected region, New York, where they had this art form, right? And they went through it, building it. It became this thing. And then all of a sudden, everywhere, rappers everywhere, and they start feeling like, yo, man, this shit is oversaturated, it's watered down. So you start hearing rappers call other rappers out, and they had beef but it's like, y'all all rappers, but you a whack MC, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's not real hip hop. So it's the same thing. It's just like in the 90s after Master P. Well, first of all, on the West Coast and in the South, they was doing the independent music thing. But it seemed like after Master P done it, 900 million independent rap labels popped up overnight. All of a sudden, and you knew some of your guys riding around with a rap on the van.
Good copy, though. Yeah. Hey, that was a good copycat move. Like Master P, like I think that was so big for black people what he did. Showing black people starting your own record label and going independent. You make more money selling. If you sell 10,000 on your own, you make more than you would if you was on a label.
Even though, to me, the quality of the music suffered.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. Right. But the lesson is, you know what I mean? Do it your motherfucking self.
Yeah, do it yourself. No doubt. No doubt. I'm just saying. The quality, because it's hard to put out. It'd be just like this.
I don't feel like it stood the test of time like I thought it would back then. You know what I mean? But I did.
That's my point. It wasn't like it was just consumable. You know what I mean? It was like, so it's like if I did this show 7 days a week, I feel like the quality would suffer. I feel like because some nights. Because after a while, you're going to have to start reaching for shit to talk about. Because we done talked about every goddamn thing. Right. So the quality kind of
today. Yeah, you're going to sound like today's news.
Right. Well, either that for consistency, or you just going to be on here just meandering, not really making any points, not really talking about shit. I love it. I love it when I watch a podcast and I can tell that the conversation is really going nowhere because nobody in that room is really the mic pro. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Right.
Shout out to y'all, man. I don't want nobody mad at me, man.
Let me stop. Do that thing.
I'm sorry, man. I don't want nobody mad at me. Like, I know you ain't talking about me. No, it's just a traditional pattern of conversation, and usually on the good shows, because there's a lot of people who are dope. On the good ones, there's, like you said, Kamar, there's conversation, which means somebody's listening and somebody's talking.
Yeah.
But if everybody's talking and everybody is the motherfucker, and nobody's the expert on anything, nobody's the authority, it's just like a circular conversation, right? We trying to
whole bunch of opinions.
Yeah, well, yeah, and with no facts behind them. Right. It's cool to have an opinion, but have some facts to at least try to stand on it. So, let me go to my chat room. Ace is in there. Y'all share the show. Yes, we are on Thursday night. It's Outlaw Radio. Oh my God, that's what I named the show tonight. I'm calling on God. Our city is going crazy. I am calling on God. I don't care who you believe in. I don't care what you believe in. I'm calling on God. God, we need you right now. We need you. And for those of you who care, you tripping. No, you tripping. Look at what's going on, man. And to this point, no man has been able to fix it. We need some divine intervention here, man. So the name of the show is Oh My God. Hit us up if you got a testimony tonight. Ace Cooley said the problem is that you're only dealing with ones in Milwaukee. He said the problem is that you're only dealing with ones in Milwaukee. Go to the West Coast, you'll see the difference in the Hispanic community, more so Mexican. I will say Milwaukee is way of a more melting pot than anywhere on the West. Okay. I just want to shout out Robert Miranda. That ain't even had nothing to do with Robert Miranda. Robert Miranda is my guy. So I just want to shout him out. And I said the other night I didn't have any Latino homies, and I was wrong. I should have shouted. He just was on the show. So I just corrected that. Robert Miranda is the homie, man. And like I said, if I would really want to put together a protest or some sort of demonstration, and I called Robert Miranda, if he could be there, he would absolutely be there. So I know this for a fact because I've seen him at some stuff. This is Ace. I'm a little behind. He's saying what's up to you, Kamari. He said, what's up, cuz? He said, you hear about the podcasters that got murked by the SA in Vegas while they were on? I did not. I seen something about somebody getting murdered, but it wasn't something that I clicked on. I think I kept scrolling. Earl Henning in the chat room. He said, great day, my brothers. Chocolate milk, love us. We need more eye-opening information. We need to have think tanks in our community, y'all. We got to get real cerebral with what's going on right now. Now ain't the time to be burning shit. Now's the time to be learning shit. Damn, we need to put that on the t-shirt, Kamar. It ain't time to be burning shit. It's time to be learning shit.
Straight up. Pick a book up.
So Earl is confirming what G-Mo Capone, shout out to G-Mo Capone, said a police officer was just shot on 46 in Hampton. I say again, what is going on Hampton? 4 people shot, 2 perished next day. A teenager shot, perishes today. A police officer shot. Now, is he deceased or is he just shot?
Sound like a war going on.
There's something going on over there. And I have that's what I'm saying. Like, my barber's over there. Come on. You see me around this motherfucker with a big ass fro, you know why? Like, hey, man.
I don't know if I should go on and hang out.
Yeah, man. Shit, what's to it? What's going on? He's right there. And I went in there. I was going to go that Friday. Come on. I was like, I should get up. It's a Friday. I ain't really got too much to do. I'm viral I'm virtual at work. So, and I did all my stuff. I got all my stuff done. I should just, and to avoid it on Saturday, but I didn't go. Then I see that, damn, 4 people. And then the next day I go to the shop and they in there like, yeah, motherfuckers tripping yesterday. They were just shooting motherfuckers up. I'm like, damn. Oh my goodness, what's going on over here, man? John Fletcher, hey, what's going on, John? He said, what up, family? EPU in the building, Outlaw Radio, the best of the best. You making history, family. I appreciate the compliment. I don't know that I'm making history. I know to this point, this city, the powers that be they don't want shit to do with me. They don't. I'm not included with their, with their shenanigans. I don't do it for that anyways. I really don't. It's people say you just sharing it. No, I really don't do it for that. But I'm not, because I need to be on terrestrial radio. I don't even know what the fuck is going on. I've been sitting around like this for years. Like, huh? Like, can I see them bring people in? And I'm like, what? Come on, man. What they say, the listeners, the viewers were saying a couple weeks ago, they said, we ain't the biggest, but we're the most consistent.
Mhm.
Consistency means something.
Hey,
It should be
you know
rewarded.
what? I was just talking about the BET Awards and shit, right?
Oh,
They asked me how come Kai Connect and Drewski got so much action. And I'm like, real work now is you need followers and shit.
right.
You know what I mean? This is the way the company is starting to look at it. Cause see, these is like two of the biggest YouTube stars. You know what I'm saying? So if they got them on the BET Awards, how many people you think trying to see the BET Awards? You know what I mean? Or even afterwards. So even just to say that, like, man, look, when we build a hell of a following up, these radio stations just start calling that number. You know what I'm saying? Because they gonna want that action. But now, like I remember I told you before, you know, you ain't want to fuck with us early, you're gonna have to pay. So that's what that means. That's all that means.
But also, I totally understand that those are some young brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Their show is not marketed to us. Listen, very seldom do you get where we're at in life, Kamar, our age, our demographic. Very seldom are they going to be talking about something that's relevant to us.
Right.
Because I'm not going to sit for 3 hours and listen to you talk about other celebrities. I'm not in that vein anymore. I want to know what's going on legislatively, right? I need to know the economic trends and the economic, mountaintops and valley low. I need to know that kind of stuff. So I get their appeal. And like you said, they have tremendous following. This is their generation.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, for something like BET, like a TV, like they doing an award show, they need views. These niggas bring views. You know what I'm saying?
Know what? My old ass didn't even watch the BET Awards.
I didn't either.
See, that's why they need young people, because that's who watching it.
I didn't even know it was going on till the next morning.
Leandre Poe, he said, "What's up, Coach Barnes?" What up, Poe? One of my old football players, man, from Madison High School. Said, "What up, Coach Barnes?" Poe was a trip, man. Poe was a funny dude back in them days, man. What's up, man? I hope you're doing good, man. Poe, I hope you're doing good. Earl Henny said, "Robert is the man. I work for him driving a van, taking people to work." Okay. Yeah, Robert is man. He good people, man. Ewok said, "The whole world went nuts. I think Milwaukee just first on the list to jap out. Watch and see who's next because it's X coming." Okay. Listen, do you think Milwaukee is really the first one to jap out? Listen, it's crazy. It is. Come on, we're still not the murder capital of this country.
Right.
So as bad as it is, there's still some places that are dealing with some shit. I make it a focus to really discuss what's going on in Milwaukee very heavily on this show. That's another thing that we do on this show, is primarily dedicated and catered to the city of Milwaukee, in particular, the North Side and the foundational Black Americans in this city. I don't try to talk about what's going on in New York on the street, or Chicago on the street, or Detroit. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the problems in my city should be discussed amongst the people in my city. So, there's a lot of nuances and if I wanted to just absolutely show my ass on the internet and do whatever for clicks and likes, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take long. I'm just too old for that shit. Come on. Yesterday I was physically tired of the internet and social media. I for real, because it was too much. With the BET shit was, and I don't talk about the BET shit. I don't watch award shows. I think for me, it's kind of like when I see celebrities gather to give themselves awards, and look at me, like it's like, to me, it's like almost like a slap in the face. Like, okay, I bought your album, I watched your movie, now I'm gonna watch what you're wearing and try to go buy that, and then you announce a new project, and they all there high-fiving each other. Look at us, we're stars. I don't watch fucking award shows, no kind. Not and so I had some issues with the BET Awards, and number one, I'm confused by Kirk Franklin. I'm confused that the BET Awards gave Glorilla a gospel award.
Hold on, Paul. Hey, pause. Did you hear Kevin Hart joke? Did you hear him get at?
Absolutely.
Nigga popping dick for Jesus.
He said he was front. He said, "Don't come up here front twerking."
Yeah.
Kevin Hart need to be stopped, man. He was doing, but he was clowning the whole night. I get it. But they gave the gospel award to Glorilla for her song.
She couldn't understand it.
She has a song with him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but she tripping. Like, I done got all these. She said, I got all these different nominations and everything, and now I'm on the gospel song, and I got a gospel award.
And she said, I didn't want to really ask him to do a song with me because y'all know how I be rapping. You know, she country is a dirt road. Mm-hmm. It was the whole. So check this out. My wife and I had this discussion. Y'all might trip on me for this. Biblically, Satan, the devil, was a musician. He was the music director. He was a great artist. He was a performer. He was the
and that was
director
one of the
heaven's music.
That was also one of the big parts of the movie Sinners.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say no more because I know it's a lot of people that still ain't seen it.
I still haven't seen it. That there's a you look at what music does. Look how people who do this music, who bring these messages, a lot of times how they end up. Look at Puffy. And we give Puffy a lot of credit because he made a lot of music that we enjoyed when we were young. But look at the nature and the era of music that Puffy and Bad Boy and Biggie and all them brought in. Because at a certain point, Kamar, we was power to the people and shut them down and fight the power and African medallions and, you know, up with hope and down with dope. And we was all this. And then like in a year, it was like, no, sell as much dope as you can so that you can buy the clothes.
Then NWA came out.
And then, but that was some street commentary, but Puffy brought the champagne, the diamonds, the jewelry. No, he brought the shiny shit in.
Now at that point, see, NWA brought the thug that's having some money in, but that brought, if you having that, you having money now. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? But Puffy, like he brought the shiny shit, and that made people feel like I gotta have that. I gotta have this. You know what I'm saying? Now you got motherfuckers dying trying to live, dying thinking that's living and trying to get to that, trying to live that out. I gotta need these diamonds so that I'm the man. That shit they did, bro. Start them and the Hot Boys.
Well, think about this too. But I think the Hot Boys were just because they were later on, and I think the damage had already been done. Yeah. And it's interesting that you talked about NWA because, and I'm going hip hop here. Special Ed came on to Art of Dialogue, I believe, or one of these shows, Vlad or something. And he was saying that he felt like NWA brought the destruction. After them, they brought the destruction to rap. But there's two things about NWA. Number one, NWA, you didn't see them with Gucci, Louis, Prada. They had on khaki suits.
I think a lot of them
Nikes. So what I'm saying is theirs wasn't really flashy, flossy.
But they was also political.
There was a political element to it.
They wasn't just no dumb rappers.
Right. So you think about the era that Bad Boy ushered in was the drug dealer.
Yep.
All of a sudden, everybody watching.
It was the show your money drug dealing because
everybody watched Scarface.
Remember Dope Man?
Remember every rapper's favorite movie was Scarface. Every rapper, when you go MTV Cribs, he's watching Scarface.
Yeah. Right.
Whole time.
Puffy brought that. Yeah, you're right. They brought that show your money attitude.
But also because I feel like NWA's perspective is life is so hard and we're just trying to get some money to survive. Puffy's was no, we want to flood the neighborhood with metric tons of dope so we can wear diamonds. Look at Jay-Z's claim to fame. I was an ex-big drug dealer.
And see, I don't think Puffy and them put out the drugs. They put out the flashy side of the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, Jay-Z, you got motherfuckers that was claiming to be the drug dealers.
Biggie, that's what Biggie was.
Rocks. Biggie was selling rocks on the block. He wasn't selling keys.
No, if you listen to his music, it progressed to when he became the boss, when he became Frank White, the king of New York. He became That's what Warning is about. They heard about the Texas Rolexes in the crib he got in Florida. That's hey, the Don.
You got me on that one again.
The Don and all this shit. So my point is, there was a shift in our mentality from X-Clan, a BDP, a Public Enemy for so many years. You know, the Nation of Islam, we learned about Malcolm X and all this kind of stuff. To all of a sudden, everybody knows all of the legendary drug dealers that ever came from Harlem by name, and damn near all of them got a movie. So there was a shift in our culture. Let me go to the chat room. Dion says, man, what the fuck? He said, I'm here. He said, I ain't never heard Satan was a musician. Look it up. Satan was one of the angels. He was the music director. He became so big that was his beef with God, is that, let me do this, move out the way. That's why he was booted from heaven. Okay? Now, you talk about music now. Everybody on here has got on me about the influence of music. And now that I'm trying to make this connection, I'm starting to make this connection of, wait a minute. The reason why we are where we're at is because Satan is using music to put certain messages in our head. Why are our young men so soft? Why are they so sensitive, so emotional? What's the most popular type of rap for these young brothers? Emo rap. All they on there talking about is, somebody hurt them. Oh my God, I never had nobody. The world has betrayed me. All I got is my 9, and all this is sad ass shit. This is permeating their frontal lobes. Ewok said that was the first time I heard Glorilla talk. What part of the country do they speak that shit? Memphis. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. Earl Haney said you can't get more country than Memphis. I don't know. Deep Georgia and Southern Mississippi might have something to say about that, Jack, because there's some dudes down there that's, whoo, you'd be like, man, we free, right? What? When that happened? I'm just kidding. That was bad. But yeah, so and then look at, come on, connect this. All of the greatest stars musically, especially in our culture, look what happens to them in the end. Very few walk away unscathed. I was listening to Shaka Khan's story last night for shits and giggles, type of shit I do, right? When I'm sitting outside in the garage thinking. And I didn't know she had all this wild shit that happened to her. Look what happened to Prince. Look, Michael Jackson, right? Elvis, Biggie, Tupac, DMX, Big Pun, Gerald Levert, Roger Troutman. Look at what Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke. The list goes on and on and on and on of these individuals who have these tremendous highs and become this otherworldly phenomena, and they just spiral out of control and end up, you're like, look at Puffy. To come down from where he was in terms of his place in our community, in our culture, to now we looking at this dude talking about, you used to let somebody skeet on your girl and then you would wipe it on or have them wipe it on you. Like, what?
That's fucking sick.
It's a bunch of sick stuff that has come out. But once again, Kamar, it's something they all have in common. Very few of them live to get old and be able to tell. A lot of them is, live fast, die young, go out tragically. So I'm saying, once you let the devil in and you start to let him utilize you to become one of his tools, it's hard to get back right. Now, we brought up Kirk Franklin. Look at Kirk Franklin. Look at why are you dressing? I feel like, so this is a whole discussion in itself. To be a representative of what we know traditionally as gospel music, I feel like there should be a certain code of etiquette with it. I'm not saying you have to still operate like some old Southern Negroes in 1913, Mississippi. Of course, the things have changed, things have evolved. Our people are in a different position right now. But I don't think you should be crossing the line being what you should be against. I don't believe no grown man should dress like a woman. And I'm not talking about being gay. I'm saying, in my mind, when I see a man dressed with women's shoes or something that a woman would wear, I'm instantly like, I ain't going. And then the mannerisms of this brother. Now, I can't say whether he's really saved or not, or I'm not going to even speak to his conviction because that's not what I'm here for. I'm just saying that message in that setting, the women's clothing, it's almost like being homosexually fluid. I'm not gay, but I'm real curious or I'm real close, right? Like kids see this stuff and they absorb it. Remember, Kamar, when we first seen Run DMC with them big ass gold chains on? You didn't even care if it was real or fake. You wanted you a gold rope.
I had to have one. That motherfucker sound like aluminum. That motherfucker sound like aluminum. You know that.
Like a tambourine when you running down the street, man. Come on, man. But that influence of us as kids, no shoestrings in my Adidas. You seen a bunch of young dudes walking down the street with no strings in their shoes. Right. How in the hell is he keeping his shoes on? Like, you know, when we got, like, you brought up the NWA thing. How many Raider jackets did all of a sudden everybody had on black? Everybody had on khakis, and you know, so kids are influenced by these things. So when you see a man and you're in your formative stages and he's gyrating like a woman with some high heels and a woman's business suit on, it has an effect on you. And if you don't have the right people around you to kind of straighten that and say, nah, man, look, nah. That's not your reality. So even with the rap that's supposed to be super masculine, where I see these young boys, man, I ain't gonna even call them YNs. I'm gonna call them young boys with these balaclavas on, and it's a mentality. I got some tight ass pants with a big ass gun sticking out of it. Yeah. Nigga, I'm just trying to get some blacks. What the fuck is you doing? You know, but I feel like the messages are part of it, and they don't have the structure of masculinity that we had. I'm gonna go ahead and say that because we were raised by older brothers, and even if your daddy wasn't there, you had some uncles, you had a cousin, you might have had a stepdaddy, you had somebody, right. Mr. Johnson, who lived next door. He knew you didn't have no daddy, so he looked for, hey boy, come on over here. Want to make $5?
I think happened? I think in our generation, a lot of the fathers wound up going to jail. So since it wasn't no immediate man around, I think a lot of the young boys didn't know how to stop learning how to listen to a man. Like they was being raised by their mothers. So they really be reacting just like their mothers react when men talk to them.
From an emotional perspective, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So like, I think maybe that could be part of the problem why it's a disconnect, because a lot of us wound up in prison and wasn't around. You know, that's part of it. I ain't saying that is the problem, but you know what I mean? I'm sure that played a big part in it.
No doubt. And I want to say, this is not a situation where we're going to blame black women.
Right.
Or we're going to blame single moms.
I'm actually blaming us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I want people to get that straight.
You see, we made the decisions to do the shit we did. We chose to do the shit we did to get caught up to go to jail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To go to prison. So we chose to. So I'm blaming us for that. You know what I mean? This is another one of the reasons, my bad, but this is another one of the reasons why I be doing that real OG thing again. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we have to correct each other. You know what I mean? Women have to correct the young women. We got to correct the young men. We got to figure out how to make this connect. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we could just teach it just by us talking to each other, where in spaces where others can hear, just as like this.
Yeah, but I don't. Okay, so to that point, I would never blame if you're a young sister right now and you have a child, and if that man leaves and chooses to be a deadbeat dad, or if he's deceased and you lose him or he gets incarcerated, I 100% do not blaming you for doing what you got to do to raise your kid. And if you could say, because I hear some brothers say, you see, women for they teaching me, he can't teach him how to be no man. Well, she didn't sign up to teach him how to be a man, but out of necessity, that's what she had to do. She had to do. She's a woman. So you're right in the fact that she can't teach him how to be a man, but she can do her best. Right. See what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of that divisiveness with that, in which some dudes will say, I blame single moms. And I'm like, how you blaming the woman? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you just said, the kind of accountability for us. I think where we kind of slipped up at is, once again, we came up during a time where that moral compass slipped off a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden, a lot of us became very, very, and this is from a masculine perspective, very promiscuous, very misogynistic. You know what I'm saying? And very counterproductive. So we started to adapt to some rules and to some ideologies that, hey man, fuck these hoes, man. I'm just trying to hit one night and I'm out. Like all of a sudden, the likelihood of me hitting and quitting became greater. Whereas at one point, sex was like, whoa, that's a big step. Like, you can't just run around knocking everybody down. Brother said, nah, I'm doing everything and everybody I can.
Hey,
so
now, look, I just made a video today. I just posted it, I want to say about an hour ago, and I spoke just to that, right? It's two sides to it too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of angles to that, like on why men leave the families. You know what I mean? It ain't always the family. You know what I mean? Because see, let me explain this. It ain't always the family that he running from. Sometimes it's the mother that he running from. Because see, a lot of the time these same brothers go and wind up with another family, start another family. So we really want families, but it don't work with a lot of the women.
Just for the sake of brothers who got a very difficult baby mama, I'm not going to debate that point, okay?
And that's the point I'm making.
I'm saying that's cool. That's cool. I'm more speaking from a perspective of brothers who, because first of all, you shouldn't have a baby by everybody who you go with.
Exactly.
Or who you
That's
date.
first.
That's first. So for you to have 7 babies by 7 women, and shout out to all you brothers who got busy, that's really wrong. You're not supposed to do that.
Right. That ain't normal.
No, that's something. There's a problem here, right? Like, and we have a lot of instances of that. And one man can't be all 7 of them kids' daddy simultaneously.
Right. And I'm not speaking in situations like that. I'm speaking about the men that actually start a family with a woman and we living together, taking care of shit. And now I can't deal with this. So you know what I mean? Like whatever trauma it is you're going through, I can't deal with it. I have to take care of my kid from over there.
So I think you're speaking to the point that it's not always the male's fault. There is some toxic femininity as well. Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying it go both ways. That's the other side of the coin.
But once again, I was only speaking from, you said us holding each other accountable. So I was just talking to brothers who just was loose as a goose in the 90s.
Right.
Who just, even though you'd have thought AIDS would have made sure people had more safe sex. This brothers here who was straight free balling in the 90s. Like, how many kids you got?
Hey, them niggas didn't give a fuck. Shoot the club up.
Oh my God. And that's on us. Ace Cooley said that's them people, Kev. They run that industry. Look what they did to Angie Stone. People die whenever they want their masters, and all this shit is coincidental. That's why they have such an issue with Kanye, because he's exposing the J people. I ain't even looking at it I'm looking at it from the moral degradation perspective of it. You talking about selling your soul. You saying, wait a minute, I'm going to make a song. Think about this, Kamar. I'm going to make a song called, it's just a scenario, just suppose. I make a song and it's called, I'm selling dope, right? And the shit goes triple, quadruple platinum. And I become the biggest rapper in the world in 6 months. And I tour 8 years. And this is my main single. I'm selling dope. And then when you listen at the lyrics, it's, yeah, I'm selling dope to your mama, to your auntie, your granny. Yeah, I'm getting this money so I can get the panties, whatever, however it rhymes, Kamar. You are putting a message into the air that you can't take back. And generations and generations of that people will see you when you're 50 and be like, hey, I'm selling dope. You can't shake it. I feel like that's becoming a tool for Satan. I feel like once you sell your soul, you can't really get it back. Once you really dive into that point, you think about, people give Luke all this credit. Luke, Southern hip hop. What did Luke bring to the table? Really? A bunch of misogyny. Come on, let's talk about the images that you never watched the 2 Live Crew video for the song. I didn't. We turn that shit down. And play. We got my music. You got your music playing in the background, but you watching that video. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Never. We always watch the Luke videos. We couldn't wait for a Luke video to come on. We turn the volume down and watch the video.
That's what I just said. You're going to turn it down. You got your music playing in the background, and we all sitting there like, damn, this shit crazy. That's what he brought to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, So once you put that much into the air, it's
Hey,
your
you didn't
moral
know it,
compass
but
is
Luke was
screwed.
probably one of the first to start exploiting women.
But hip hop wise,
Yeah.
you might have a point there. To that level. To
He
that
might have
level where
started.
Luke
He
did.
might have started that, man.
And
Because
some
I don't
people
think
would argue,
nobody had the guts really to go there, but
well,
him.
usually music like that was like black labeled, like you really couldn't, you know what I mean? Like you couldn't just go grab it.
And
And
that
then
was hey, look, and then that was a Miami sound. That was a Miami thing down there.
the bass, yes.
Yeah.
And some people might say, well, Luke is Dominican or not Dominican, but he's island, Caribbean. I don't know. He's not a foundational Black American, islandism. And Jamaicans, in the Jamaican culture, when they have their, what do you call it? When they get together and they do, and you see the girls grinding and all that kind of stuff.
Wine dance.
All that. But
I don't
they've
know what
done
it's
that.
called. I don't know what the party called.
I don't either. Because I'm saying to the level Luke did it, like you said, whereas now it's just on the box. This is on MTV. This is little kids can walk past the TV and be like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Right. And it's shameless. People loved it. They see Luke and say, you a legend. Like, okay, yeah, okay. So I'm just saying, now it's true when the business sometimes Ace was speaking to, when it comes to who owns these masters and what contract did you actually sign, because they say 70-80% of all first record contracts that are signed are horrible. You basically have to sell your likeness, you sell your intellectual property, you sell your name, you sell all of that so you can get a $75,000 advance. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this seems like a deal with the devil from the start, Kamar. And that person can market you however they want. And you be like, wait a minute, what y'all doing? No, this is what we decided. No, you are the booty man now. It's like, wait, I got a little girl. Tell her don't come to work with you. God damn it. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at the correlation between things that corrupt us. We know money corrupts, absolutely. Money will tear any bridge. Dude, you want to see somebody get betrayed? Give them some money. Your grandmama fuck you over and be crying. I'm sorry, baby. I just wanted to get my foot fit. Grandma would have gave you the money. My grandma was told, like, money corrupts, man. Because you can do so much with a lot of money in terms of influence. You say how much it's gonna cost to make them white pies nigga pies. So it's crazy, man. This was just in the chat room. This is Ace. He said they stopped giving the X-Clans, the PEs, and all the conscious music play. NWA came out and shit went rampant due to these same motherfuckers needing to fill their prisons. They had to affect the youth. The same motherfuckers that own the labels own the private prisons. I ain't gonna lie to you. I stopped buying the shit. Listen, the first time I heard Spice One, I'm like, I'm fucking with the West Coast. Everything that come out of there. And then in the midst of that, BDP, X-Clan, PE still was releasing music, but to me it sucked. So I was like, I'm not buying this shit no more. I'm buying some E40 now. I'm, listening to Ghetto Boys and shit now. So, and people talk about NWA, they really only had 2 albums. And you can say, well, they fucked it up. They fucked it up. They fucked it up. You could say that. But I didn't, in the beginning, you never heard NWA claim no gang. You heard them talk about crack cocaine, but if you watched the news, you knew about crack cocaine. You knew about dope fiends. You knew about murders. We didn't know about cripping and blooding, but like I said,
but you know what? That's something else that you can attest to our era. You know what I'm saying? We didn't much. We didn't put our business out there like that. Like we talk about how they put everything on social media, with the drill rap and you know what I mean, and all that shit. Like they just put the business all out there for everybody. And like, yeah, you wouldn't know. You didn't know what gangs they was in and shit. Like Spice One, you would think, like you even talk MC8. He never said he was a Crip.
Back then, until him and Quick got into it.
Yeah. And so, because now it was a gang thing now, you know what I mean? But Yeah, they didn't talk about that shit. They didn't go and get into their personal lives much. They knew how incriminating that was.
Sharita Shaw said, remember he was on the daytime talk show. You talking about Luke? She said he's definitely Caribbean and definitely not FBA. And I've heard him be very critical of FBA too. So it don't, you know what I mean? Like I have no sympathy or empathy for the criticisms of Luke. You know what I'm saying? Like every time I see, I'm bothered by this. I don't know if anybody, every time I see somebody crip walk, it bothers me a little bit. Because in my head, I'm saying, do they actually know what they're doing?
I was gonna say it bothered them niggas too out there in Cali. They don't like that shit either.
If you're not a crip, you shouldn't be crip walking. I get it. It's a dope dance, and it looks cool to do if you can do it. I never could really do it, but so it's just like for me, and I think we talked about this before. Everybody now says on the G, on the G, on the G. Everybody knows the handshake. I got enough sense to know that everybody who says on the G ain't really folks and ain't really GD. And everybody who knows the handshake ain't really folks and ain't really GD. And if you get around some real GDs from Chicago who are structured and you do that, they will call you on it. Just like if you go around some real vice lords and that's from Chicago and you start pop, they're going to say, yo, what you doing? So when I see, to me, that's selling something to us. Like remember for about a 3-year split, every rapper was a pimp. Remember Snoop was a pimp and he walked the dogs down the aisle on the collar at the awards, and he was riding with Don Magic Wand and he had the perm, what's up, baby? And all this shit. That came and went for a minute.
He wasn't even a pimp.
Right. Well,
he just sold the image.
He was right. He was fronting like a motherfucker for years, and people said, "Oh,
yeah, you know what I mean." Yeah.
People say, "Oh, Bow Wow, oh, Snoop Doggy Dogg, PIMP, and all this shit." All of a sudden, Pimps was popular, and Kenny Ivy was on every platinum album and shit and documentaries. And then somebody said, "Hey, that's sex trafficking with underage women," and that shit went. And Snoop got dreads and became Jamaican.
He changed his name to Snoop Love or something like that.
Right. He became all kinds of different people trying to get away from that. I ain't seen him and Don Juan riding together in years.
Hell no. It was a wrap.
So at times the industry does use these people to sell images to us. It's just like in the 80s, they use Prince and they use a bunch of artists. Go and look at some of your favorite bands from the 70s and the 80s. They are super androgynous. So the industry used them to push the androgyny and the homosexuality. Look at Prince. Look at most of the 80s stars with eyeliner and mascara and shit on. Go ahead, bro. Is he froze? I think he froze. He'll be back. His modem will always catch up. So yeah, we know that there's some influence that popular culture has on our kids, and I think at this point, there's no longer any filters to make sure that some of the message that our kids are getting are regulated. It's hard to regulate these kids because they're going to get a hold to phones, and if they don't have one, their friend will have one. You know, you can censor your child all you want. He or she is going to see those things. So sometimes we've taken the approach that, well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell my kids about it. So when they see it, they won't be tripping and it won't drive them crazy. But you can't expose them to it too early. See, the best thing you can do as a parent is try to keep maintaining the countermeasure to the negativity, right? Like, so when you see your kid watching something or listening to something, you really almost ultimately have a conversation with that kid right then and there and say, whoa, do you know what that is? Do you know what he's saying? Do you know what he's doing? Right? Do you know what that represents? My father was very good at that with me. You know, come on, I left We Can't Be Stopped. I remember Ghetto Boys album, We Can't Be Stopped. I left. My father had just bought him a slick coupe, man. It was clean as Board of Health, man. And I didn't have no license or nothing yet, but he got to the point where he said, hey, go put the car in the garage. So what I'm going to do is my cousin, I'm going to call him. Hey, man, I'm about to be whipping the lack. He said, okay, we get in there. We throw the Ghetto Boys and we going to ride around the neighborhood for a minute, go past the playground. Yeah, niggas, what's up? Fucked around, left my Ghetto Boys tape in the tape deck. Pops get in the car next morning to go to work. It's in 1989, we knocked on the door. In 1990, we beat on the door. Now it's 1991, we finna kick this motherfucker in. That's how the album starts.
Oh,
Let's talk about a scandal. My father was like, he that day when he came home from work, he was like, hey man, you left your tape in the car, right? I said, I know, I left it in there. He said, that's what you listening to now? I was like, what you mean? He was like, man, I turned on the radio. This guy was on there talking about kicking down somebody's door. And he just went into just explaining to me how this shit was all entertainment and it was all fake and I shouldn't be trying to emulate this. And I told him, I think the only way I made him feel better is I said, to me, it's like a movie, Pop. It's like watching a movie. So you'll let me watch Terminator, or you'll let me watch a gangster movie on TV, and I don't go out and, hopefully I don't go out and try to recreate it. So the music is the same. But my point is, as a parent, you have to do that. I've grabbed my son plenty of times because he loves Chicken P, and my son knows all the Milwaukee rappers. He know how to find their videos on YouTube where they got the guns and everything, right? And I've sat and watched videos with him like, hey, man, look at this. First of all, that's irresponsible firearm handling.
Straight up. I got all the logic.
Right. So I now, will that save him or keep him from doing certain things? I can't say it's 100%, but it's my effort as a parent to say, I'm trying to regulate the bullshit that you're hearing coming in right now. Like, when you out with your friends, are you trying to emulate that shit you heard on the song, or are you saying this is what Pops was talking about right here? Because this shows the difference between a video where somebody getting shot at than your ass really in real life getting shot at. I don't know if anybody else has ever been shot at, but I'm telling you, there's no slow motion, there's no smoke machine, there's no
heart don't stop beating till next week,
man. And the first 4 times you close your eyes, you can't stop hearing that gun go off. Especially if somebody hits you up with some bah, 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 you're like, man, you waking up in the middle of the night like, oh shit, them niggas busting. Like, it's not cool, man. But our kids are, somebody said desensitized to it. I disagree, but I've kind of reconsidered because I feel like that does kind of tenderize them for the big show. And Sharita Shaw is talking about me saying those guys in the 80s. I said in the 80s, they utilized that the music industry to push that androgyny and shit. Like, as much as I like Prince's music, man, I go back and look at old pictures of Prince. I'll be like, what the fuck do he got on? Why does he look like a man and a woman at the same time? I love his music, right? Look at Michael Jackson. Yeah,
a lot of singers. It was a lot of singers, especially like different groups, R&B groups and shit.
Come on.
Respect is a motherfucker back then.
Man. Yeah, I'm talking about mascara, lip gloss, like for real. Like, they was using that to continue on what eventually happened is where now everything gay runs the world.
Right. They probably was trying it back then.
Oh yeah, that was easing it in. Dion, I think my phone is cool right now. Let me see if I can hear you.
What's been going on? What every time the phone be fucked up, what's happening?
The phone was messed up one time. What are you talking about? You was just on the show Monday talking shit. What are you talking about?
You said I think my phone is cool.
Can you hear him, Kamar? I asked, all I wanted was a mic check. He went into some other shit about what your fucked up ass phone. But before Dion, before you even give your perspective, let me say this too. I guess this point I was trying to make, because sometimes we can go all over the place and people get mad at us and be like, man, whatever. There was never, ever, ever a conscious artist on Bad Boy. There was never a positive artist on Bad Boy, ever. Even the women groups or the women were promoted as sex objects and promoted to be freaky and to be, I'm the dope dealer's girlfriend. It never promoted anything positive except for the shiny suits and what looked like happy dances. But what it was it was a gift wrapping on a bunch of bullshit. And we bit down hard. So I just want to say that when you look at what he did, we give him credit for a lot of, cultural innovations in our music in the 90s. But what he did was he brought the degradation and the deprivation to the game, and we ate it up. No Diddy. This is Ace. He says, hurry up and get this over for Dion get mad. Ace Cooley said, man, I had a problem keeping that first DJ Quick tape. I think it got stolen like 6 times. That's how it was. I was like that with the Chronic. As a matter of fact, shout out to June and shout out to Rock, who's always in the chat room, because they were working at a record store called Maury Records and Tapes, and they would get advanced copies of all of the newest music. And so I picked June up from work. So I had the Chronic a week before it came out. How long do you think it stayed in my car? It got stole immediately, Kamar. And June kept giving me a new one every time I say somebody stole it. So it had to get stolen like 4 or 5 times. And nobody else had it. So brother, hey man, play that Dre. I would play it. They would go crazy. Next thing I know, my tape was missing. He said,
"Hey Kev, I'm gonna tell you. Hey, dig this. You probably won't believe me, but I had the Chronic a week early too. Only I acquired it different.
Okay.
Me and my guy Boogie went down to Cincinnati right after we graduated, and it was out down there. We was down there for a week. We came back up here, and we had it for a whole week before it came out up here.
Yeah.
So we had to take a week early together, dog.
Who knew, right?
Who knew?
Hey, and if I'd have seen you back in them days, like I was over there and I heard you playing it, I'd have been like, that nigga stole my tape. I probably would have came at you like, hey man, where you get this tape from, man? That's my goddamn Chronic.
Well, hey, or June stole it back from you, right?
Right. Because I'd have told him, like, you know that's the Chronic. Man, for real, I'm gonna get that nigga next time I get in the car. They said they didn't have Diddy back in the days. The motherfuckers had Studio 54 out in New York. Well, Hollywood is Hollywood. And I mean, what I'm saying, my point is, the name of the show is Oh My God. And I made a correlation and a connection between the fact that the devil, Satan, if you will, biblically was an angel who was a musician or singer. He was the big honcho of all the arts until he got too big and decided that he was going to flip the script. And I'm putting this out in layman's terms. And then God gave him the boot. Like, hey, nah, you up out of here.
Ain't that
you mind if I ask you a question?
A lot of old women, like a lot of old women back in the day, they really didn't like music. They wasn't with the music too much because of that.
Okay.
I think they were saying like the music woo you or something, and that's the devil. They used to listen to the devil's music.
The devil's music, right?
You hear that? You used to hear that shit back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
And then you look at some of the greatest singers, soul singers like Sam Cooke, like Marvin Gaye, like a lot of artists who started in the church and switched, and look what happened to them. Now, Dion, you had a question for me. What's your question?
I just want to know, was the devil black or white?
Which one do you want him to be?
I'm just really curious about this devil. I hear a lot about him.
Which one? I got 2 questions for you. Which one do you want him to be, and why does it matter?
I don't know. You already know how I feel about that.
I mean, you asked the question. I gave you an answer. So
I figured you knew because you said that.
Well, that's not a thing.
I mean, you said that he was a.
That's not a musician. Thing. Why do you believe a heavenly body has skin tone and hue? Why do you believe a devil is black or angel is white or black or anything? This is something you can't even understand because you don't believe in it. So it can't have any kind of human characteristics.
That's what I was trying to get to. But what we talking about though? Because I just got off work, man, so I couldn't listen to you like I wanted. That's why I'm in this bitch.
Right.
I heard you talking about rap. I didn't see the BET Awards and shit. I don't be interested in shit like that though. You know what I'm saying?
So here's a tip. Whenever you come on the show and you don't know what we talking about, you should wait until you listen for a minute and then call in when you hear something that you want to respond to. You can't call in and say, I wasn't even listening. What y'all talking about? Hello?
No, I heard you because you was talking about like the Ghetto Boys, NWA, X-Clan, EPMD. Then you said like when you heard Spice One, but initially when you plugged in your machine and you started off at 7:30, because I know you was on time, what was your initial conversation about?
The initial conversation was why I called the show Oh My God. And it was about the declaration that our city needs prayer and needs help. And when I say, oh my God, I'm asking God to come and deliver some mercy and some peace and some tranquility to the city of Milwaukee. It's not just OMG, which means, it's just a saying that we say. No, when I say, oh my God, I'm really asking for God. I'm calling on my God that I believe in to say, hey, this is bigger than me. I need for you to step in, big homie. That's when I say it. What's been going
on in Milwaukee? You know, I don't watch the news.
Once again, I can't do the show over when you call in, Dion.
No. I mean, what has it been? A lot of murders? Has been a lot of shootings? I mean, what's been going on? Because you know what? I be having a hard time when people just be thinking like a city the size of Milwaukee, 600,000 people. You got a city the size of Chicago, Detroit, Cincinnati, a lot of them, and there's not gonna be no violence. You know what I'm saying? Like it's violence all over. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I feel. Don't you be part of that shit. Don't become a victim to it. Just get your ass in the house and come on home and do whatever. But you know, I hate the shit. That's why I never liked the summertime, kids. Remember, I think we had a conversation, and I was like, I don't like the summer. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the summer, and I never liked the summer, even when I was younger, growing up in Chicago, because the summertime equated violence. You know, and you know, you get tired of hearing about people getting shot and innocent kids getting killed, and you know, then like you said, what you call the Chevy? He'll come on there and he gonna do all this and do all that. You know what I'm saying? And shit, pretty soon, to keep it real with you, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers need to be trying to fly up under the radar, but Trump might send the National Guard here. Because I heard we're going to be having some protests here. So,
well, they had some protests, but they were peaceful. Hey, listen.
What you want us to do, Dion? What's the plan?
Man, you already know what I do. I just lay low. That's it.
That's the plan?
I'm not getting out there marching with no Mexicans. To be honest with you, I don't even care about them coming to get the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
I guess like what was that old saying? Like, we never cared until it happened to us. So until it directly affects us, I don't.
But you don't have compassion for other human beings. You don't say, aside from the fact that they're Mexicans or that they're immigrants. 5 years. Listen, let's we don't talk turkey. 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds should not be scared that somebody's gonna come up in their elementary school and snatch them and send them back to Mexico. And most of those young kids who were born here know nothing of Mexico. So he even made sure to attack the rights of the birthright and said, look. And black people applauded it because he said this was designed for slaves, the children of the slaves. Black people said, see, he like us. He used that to justify what he was about to do. Now, we talked about the Latino vote, right? And how they actually voted. So the reality is, I believe 56% of Latino voters voted for the Democrats and Kamala Harris. In the state of California, Trump did not win. The Latinos, I think it was 35% in California. So for people who say, well, this is what they get because they voted for him, this is happening in a place where they didn't overwhelmingly vote for him.
Right.
So we need to straighten that because that's a misnomer. And I've kind of
That's a good point, Ken.
Times. You know, I've said some things about what they voted.
That was a very good point. I never thought of it from that perspective.
Yeah, you got to go do because I can't just accept us saying, fuck them. Listen, we have our own issues, and it's true that nobody has ever really put on a cape for us. That is very true. That is very true. But we are an anointed people. We are.
I don't think nothing wrong with having empathy for them families getting torn apart like that.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
When they getting snatched away from their parents and shipped to Mexico. And their parents don't know what the fuck. I don't think it's wrong to have empathy. I mean, we're human.
No. And like I said, we can't really compare what we've gone through to nobody else's because nobody else is us.
Now, I ain't saying go fight.
We are a special anointed group of people who have been able to persevere the most heinous circumstances.
Or not.
Nobody can do it because you got to understand this. There were certain jobs that the American slaves did that nobody else could do because they couldn't survive the elements. First of all, they couldn't deal with the sun. You know what I'm saying? And physically, they weren't able. We're just of a different cloth. That's no excuse for somebody to sit and watch us suffer. But I'm just saying we can't keep saying what other people didn't do for us because we've never seen anybody in this country be able to really put it down. Everybody got their rights based on what we did. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Every minority in this country, until we really stood up and made noise, everybody was just subjugated. And it wasn't just us. It was Asians. It was what Latinos were here. Hell, they took the whole left side of the country from Mexico. Okay? Now you got Irish people, Jewish people, Polish people were looked down upon. They were looked down upon. They was discriminated against too for a very long time.
They white now.
Well, yeah, they are. Because you know what? Once we start coming out saying, okay, this is what we gonna do to fight, and everybody delineated. So they said, no, we ain't, hey, we Irish, hey, we get treated bad too, but we don't like you either, nigger. And we're Irish. Hey, y'all, let's empower us Irish people so we won't have nigger problems. That's what everybody did. Some of the biggest criminals, biggest mobsters was Jewish people. And they took their families. Okay, no more gangsters. Now we're going to be lawyers, doctors, and accountants. And we're going to take our money and put it back into our community. That's what every other group did. We were spinning and blowing in the wind because we hadn't self-identified. We didn't even know how to. They call us niggas. Some people say we African. We don't know who we is until we said we're black people. We're American black people. The power is in self-identifying and delineating. I'm telling you. And so now we live in a situation where things like this happen, and it just so happened to come on the heels of the real energy put into the delineation movement. And anybody who's talking about it's Tariq Nasheed, stop it. I don't follow Tariq Nasheed. I appreciate what he does. I've listened to his show, but I don't say anything I've heard him say. I don't look to him for information. I don't even post him really in the People's News Network, Kamar. Mostly I post Mr. Farrakhan. But yeah, so I'm just saying the empathy factor. Now, am I going out there? No, I'm not. Do I encourage other people in our race to go out there? I don't, because why take L's in places that we don't have to? Say the L's we gonna take for when it matters for us. But my heart goes out, like Kamar said, to the children, man. Think of the grandmother who got 4 generations, and they've, those kids grew up and went to school and got jobs, and they have families, they have a legacy, and they just gonna come snatch grandmama? Like, what the fuck? You just snatched my grandmama and sent her back to
grocery store getting us dinner.
Right.
And we don't see her no more.
Grandmama gone.
That's cold, dog. That's cold.
Cold-blooded, man. What do you expect from a white nationalist, though? Every time, black people, he's not racist. Tell me he's not a white nationalist, though. I've never heard one person be able to who say he ain't racist. I say, but is he not a white nationalist? They say, well, I mean, yeah, well, yeah, stutter on, motherfucker. He's a white nationalist, which means he's for the white man above and beyond anybody else. The white man, not even the white woman, and veterans. Right? He's done a lot. They said he's done a lot for veterans. I had one of my shout out to Rick Muhammad. He called me, said he loves Trump because Trump has done so much for veterans. Yeah, I said it's only been 6 months. he said I've been getting treated way better as a veteran since Trump got elected. I said, all right. Meanwhile, he's about to change the army, the bases names back to the names of Confederate generals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knows this, but somebody should probably remind him. The Confederacy lost the war. Just like you lost the election and then tried to initiate an overthrow of the government, which is something else that Trump lovers say, nah, man, can't put that on him. This is like, it's like he's a musician. It's like one of them things where people, you see Michael Jackson in concert, they pass. You're a grown ass man and you done passed out because you seen Michael Jackson in concert. It's like you come online and say something bad about Beyonce, and here come 1 million motherfuckers in your inbox for the next 6 months. Like, he's just a person, right? He's just a man, right? At the end of the day, but he becomes this demigod, and so this dude is going crazy, man. He's running rampant over the people, and sooner or later it's gonna be another Los Angeles. Except the next time, I'm afraid that it might be some blood, man. I'm afraid somebody might get killed. And I would never want to see the United States military open fire on its own citizens.
They did it before, though, on that college. What college was that? I can't remember the name. It was
Kent State, but I think those were National Guardsmen. I don't think that was the actual. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, somebody out there who's in a position to research it. I believe that was National Guardsmen, or I don't know if that was the United States Army. It may have been, Dion. We know somebody got murked, right?
Only thing I know, and this is how I feel, and if you look through history, because I know you're a smart guy, ain't no change came without no bloodshed. So it's gonna have to be some bloodshed on both sides. You know, that's just like, you know, when people be talking about, I don't like to hear when people say that if we try to go against white people, that we won't win. That might be the case, but they don't want to die neither. You know what I'm saying? So we don't nobody want to die.
But
you know what I'm saying? They don't want to die. We don't want to die. But goddamn it, if that's what we got to do, then come on with it, because death is promised to you.
Well, first of all, the concept of blacks versus whites is a false one, because if there were any racial uprising in this country, we would no longer be fighting just white people. We'd be fighting the United States government. And I bet your bottom dollar there'd be black soldiers deployed, Mexican soldiers deployed, white soldiers. The United States government is different from us just taking on white people. Now, people gonna say, well, Kevin, you know they're going to defend them white folks. Yeah, but if any white folks is out there clowning when they get there and they threatening them, they ass getting killed too. So it's the people versus the country. That's what we're trying to avoid. I really don't believe if white people right now, if we just took to the streets and went and beat up some white people, and we burnt their houses or whatever, the other white people in the city might get together, but before they can get to us and we start fighting, I believe law enforcement or military will be already came in and said, y'all take y'all ass home. We already came over here and dropped a bomb on these niggas. Where'd that bomb come from? He said, this is Earl Henning. He said he doesn't care about nobody but some white people. Fuck Donald Trump. He said that was your tape. That was your tape my nephew had. Yeah, Trail probably came up on it from the neighborhood too, because I had got this tape from some brothers from a different. I was hanging with Bull and them guys. I was hanging over there on Townsend with them at this point. I was rocking over there. So, but I did take. It was some nights, Kamar, where I had the homies from Atkinson, and that's when my tape came up missing. Really, so. Maybe Trail did. Maybe it was my tape. Maybe it circulated his way through the hood all the way up to 4100 and Trail got out. Rest in peace to Trail, man. That was my dude, man. He said, this is Ace Cooley. He said, they benefited from everything we fought for. They didn't make it until they were also considered white. Remember, at one point in time, the Jews, the Irish, and Italians were not considered white. It was when the American whites realized they were outnumbered and all the mofos delineated, the whites did it to protect themselves. It's called solidarity, right? But I tell you what, a white person will tell you in a minute, when you say, hey, you a white guy, he say, I'm fucking Italian, all right? You understand what I'm saying? I'm Polish. My parents were They will delineate to this day. They will trace their family. Well, actually, my great-great-grandfather was the Duke of Earl in Scotland. Like, they will do that. They're going to delineate. Just like you think all Latinos speak Spanish, it's different dialects within the Spanish language. And to say Spanish is misleading because Spaniards are from Spain. Mexicans are from Mexico. They are descendants of South Americans who, by and large, are referred to as Indians. We say Indians here. For Native Americans, it's a misnomer. The real Indians come from South America. And that's who eventually became Mexican and all of the sorts. Go research that. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. Because I either said some shit that was dope or I just made the biggest ass of myself ever. Just come out and say, what the fuck you talking about? Ewok said, man, the Latinos tried to play that same game as the Irish and earn a white card. The shit backfired badly, and they want sympathy from the black people. They fought. He said they thought they was going to step over. That's the facts. Well, also, what is the largest and fastest growing group of minorities in America? It's Latinos. Have you never seen when it comes to the census and the population, they say by a certain year that this country would eventually become majority Latino. So yes, this once again, white nationalists say, hey, this shit can't happen. So systematically, you create a situation where you start to remove them and you shut them out. That's some white nationalist shit. I don't know why everybody's so confused, Kamar. And it's still The man said he told everybody everything he was going to do before he got elected. What hasn't he done that he said he was going to do? Regardless if the judges have blocked it, if it's lawsuits, if it's litigation, anything he said he was going to do, he's done it. He said mass immigration, mass deportation. From day one, I'm coming in, sending them home. And he did. All these people heard what he said, and they still went and voted for him. Dion, I know you're going to hit your button and be like, Kevin, he didn't win this election legitimately. Right?
Man, it's going to hit us one day, though.
Well, the people created the problem, so the people going to have to fix it. We all got to hold this L globally. You know, a lot of Americans like to say, oh, well, I didn't vote for Trump. Yeah, but you still live in the country. You still going to benefit from the policies that he put in that oppress someone else. You know what I mean? You ain't going to send if he sent out a stimulus check, because I wouldn't send mine back. Remember the last time it was a stimulus check sent and black people talking about, I'm sending mine back. I was like, shit.
Yeah, okay. ain't nobody post they self sending that motherfucker back, did they?
Not one in a frame somewhere like, see, I never even cashed it. I just put it in the frame to commemorate shit. That money was spent by the time I got it. I had to pay my gas bill. What's going on? Shout out to Carrie Walker Jones. Welcome to the show. It's Outlaw Radio. Oh my God. She said, when they stop acting like we don't matter, I'll have compassion for them. They were even trying to make Spanish our main language. Is that factual? Do we have solid evidence of a movement to do that from them? Now, once again, I know that there's a level of racism when it comes to Mexican people and black people. I've heard many Mexicans refer to it. I love George Lopez comedy, who's a comedian. I've heard him talk about it, about how the worst thing a Mexican daughter can do is marry a maete, right? Which is their word for nigga. There's situations especially on the West Coast, where I hear him saying black and brown pride and unity now, but there's been some issues between us out there. In the jails, Kamar, there's some issues. So you don't just jump back on their side now like, oh, that's what I'm saying. I try to see this from every perspective and not say something asinine, especially when it comes to children. Regardless of what anybody thinks, children do not deserve to suffer for some shit that some adults did. That little 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old who don't know or don't even care or don't even understand that his great-grandmama snuck over here to escape what the hell was going on in Juarez or wherever the fuck they was from. And she done laid low and has done with his grandfather. They raised their children. They did what they had to do. It's behind him. He don't know. He's 11. All of a sudden, here comes some dudes looking like G.I. Joe. The fuck? Right. Like, come on, man. I think that's wrong. I'm not against deporting illegal immigrants. I think there's a way it can be done. I don't think we should be sending stormtroopers and Gestapo officers, SS officers up in schools. There's a diplomatic way to do this, because obviously you know who they are and where they at. So is there not a different way you can get them? Right? You know what I'm saying? Or how about this? How about we take into consideration that they have made a contribution to this country on some level and say, okay, if you're not a criminal, if you're not caught in the act of committing a crime, and you're an illegal, but you've been here for this many years, you have kids, we're going to we're going to fast track you into citizenship. We're going to make it easier for you to get your green card. That's something else I talked to my daughter about, because she was explaining to me her problems with the whole issue. And I said, well, what is the naturalization process? She said, Dad, it's hard. It's not easy. They make it very hard for them to become citizens. So I'm like, well, is there a way we can, improve the process? Is there a way we can streamline the process? It's got to be a better way to do it than this. Because if I see you doing it to them next door, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm saying, one day this motherfucker gonna try to do this shit to me. And what that's gonna look like. Right? So we got to think twice before we quick to jump up and say, man, fuck them Mexicans. Like, what? You sound stupid.
Man, I don't give a fuck what that is. I don't care. I only like Mexican food, and I don't really care who getting deported. The Haitians, don't nobody like us, bro. The Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Africans, I don't care. I just don't. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
ain't none of them never show sympathy for us. They always talk
about How do you know there's not some of them who sympathize with what we go through? You don't know. You don't even know none of them.
It's like a grain of sand on the beach, man. I ain't trying to find a grain of sand.
How do you know that?
On the real. So we can find a handful of it like, yeah, we sympathize with you. Nah, we'll worry about that when we cross the line there. You know.
There you go.
That's just my personal opinion,
I got you.
though.
No. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. You
got
the right to feel
I always make it clear, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just care about my black people, you know?
There you go.
And then I know niggas, we be acting ugly too. You know, like, I just was driving down the highway and I looked and I seen the Greek Fest about to be this weekend. I said, man, I hope niggas don't act ugly. That was the first thing I said. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that us as black people always got to do something to show, to make us look bad when all of us ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like to keep it real, though, Kevin, you say it all the time. You know what I'm saying? You just say it a different way. Before we worry about somebody else's house, we got to worry about our own. You know what I'm saying? We need to correct our behavior. Mexicans got solid, and we're not going to even say Mexicans. We use the word Latina. Latina got what they call solidarity. You know, whether you Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Venezuelan, whatever, you speak Spanish, they have solidarity among each other. You know what I'm saying? We as black people don't have solidarity among each other. So until we get solidarity like they do, they could fight their own fight. It's enough for them to fight their own battle. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Kamar.
I feel like some of us got solidarity with each other. You know what I mean? Some of us do. Everybody don't. You're right. You know, but I feel like we got to link with those that do and rock with that. You know, we can't always look at the bad picture, how they pit us. A lot of other people like Mexicans, even Africans from Africa, they look at us bad because they taught to look at us bad. Them people tell us that. Tell them that. You know what I mean? They tell them, don't trust us. They going to get you in trouble. And then like the media present us bad. They make us look bad in front of them. You know, they put the stuff that we doing on the news to make it look like we the bad guys out here. Never mind the fact that, you know what I'm saying, the government do all this other wild shit where like don't put nothing in place. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm getting at though. Like, God transforms energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know you done seen it too in life. Like, there's been people in school, you know what I mean, who probably didn't like you or you ain't get along with. And then, you know, one of y'all did something for the other one and now y'all cool. Sometimes it just takes for us to teach other people about us. You know what I mean? Just by showing a good example. Like, I won't tell nobody to get out there with the Latinos and go march and fight. And I don't tell them not to. You know what I mean? If that's part of what you want to do, go do it. If that make your heart feel better, go do it. If not, hang out at the crib and just sit in solidarity. You know what I mean? Like I say, it ain't nothing wrong with having empathy for somebody bullshit happened to them. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But like I say, that don't mean that you got to get out there and fight for them either.
Yes, but just to put a cap on it, because I want to get to the chat room. Anytime you allow what you've gone through to make you hate other people or disregard them, then you are just as bad as the person who victimized you. Yeah, it is truly what Malcolm called the hate that hate made.
Right.
Okay. So right. I can't, even though we've been handled rough, right? Even though I've been through some shit, I can't just hate all people. I still have to have basic bottom line compassion for my fellow human being. That's why I say, I'm
real critical. Now I'm real critical on you know what I'm saying?
Now it's time to have a conversation.
Right.
About what you did, why I feel this way. That's closure, right? That's transparency. Mama Jenkins is in the chat room. How you doing, Mama Jenkins? She said, good evening, my outlaw family. Another shooting on Hampton. Now it's a cop around 7 p.m. MPD officer involved shooting. One officer shot was transported by MPD. Adult male 30s suspect was also shot and transported by Med 4. Hey, we asked in the beginning of the show because Gmo, shout out to Gmo Capone. He hit us early up and said that there was a cop shot on Hampton. And I just said, what is going on Hampton in this particular area? First of all, my uncle lives right there on like 45th. His truck was stolen 2 times in a week. Stolen, recovered, and stolen again. Then we have 4 people shot on a Friday, 2 of which perished. Then a teenager was found in an alley or something like that. He perished. And now we have a cop down there. What is going on Hampton? If somebody's in the know, please lace me up, tie my shoes. I need to know. Because like I said, my barber's over there. Is your boy going to have to miss his bi-weekly fade appointment? Like, what's going on? If y'all see me on here with a fucked up lining, don't be ribbing and shit. Earl Henning said, who going to wash the dishes? You're joking, Earl, but this is a point that a lot of people have made, that these individuals do work a lot of occupations that the rest of us don't want to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's in any economy, there's the top and there's the bottom, right? So now all these jobs, it's a lot of brothers who ain't gonna do that shit in the kitchen. You muted, Kamar.
Hey, remember back when Trump started, when all the immigration stuff started, I made a video about deporting the immigrants, you know what I mean? And I talked about the different grunt work and the different problems we gonna face because of that, you know what I mean? And that was part of it. Them people was doing a lot of the work that we won't do, that Americans don't want to do, especially for that price. I mean, you know what I mean? For that wage, you know what I'm saying? Now, if Americans go in there and do take those jobs, they going to demand a lot more money to take those jobs. So the cost of our food, our vegetables and shit still going to go up. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how they thought something good was going to come out of that. And, you know, I'm a man, and I got so much flack from that. I got some flack from different Mexicans from that, right? Okay. They were saying, oh, wow, how can a black man support slave wages? First of all, motherfucker, them ain't slave wages. Slaves didn't get paid. You know what I mean? I was nailing their ass to the cross with it. You know what I'm saying? White people, they racist at, well, you can go pick it. Nah, I don't got time to do it. I got to run my business. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? A lot of people didn't understand like the impact that they were doing for the country.
Earl is digging his hole even deeper. He said, damn, I just had tacos today. Wow. Kerry Walker Jones says, damn, don't get me wrong. I feel for the innocent, but you know.
Right.
And this wouldn't be any different.
The criminals, get them the fuck out of here. Get the criminals the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? You got then, you know, they taking people that's actually going through the process to get their credentials right. So they taking them too. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's fair. I think if you got your stuff in motion already, you know what I mean, your paperwork in motion.
Yeah, you should, You
know what I mean? Chill out.
That's what I'm saying. You can't have me here for 20 years and pay taxes and help and contribute and then say you got to go. It should be something for me. As long as I'm not a criminal, it should be, okay, we're going to fast track your citizenship.
Man, just to kick a motherfucker out the crib, you got to give them 30 days. You kick a motherfucker out the whole country, they don't know where the fuck they going.
Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. Right? Now, here's another thing that I've been doing intentionally, y'all. I've been sharing a lot of Charleston White clips in the People's News Network and his, I'm going to call it wanton disregard for black women. Man, listen. I know a lot of brothers like to say Charleston makes good points. You just got to listen to what he's saying, Kevin. But I've been putting up examples and clips of him saying things to black women on, and it's their fault for bringing him on their platform. Maybe they feel like they got some heat for him, or you shouldn't even have him here. Like, why is he here? Black women ain't shit. A black woman only want to emasculate the black man. A black man can never realize his dream with a black woman. A black bitch ain't shit. I'm like, are people listening to what this brother's saying? Is it now? Has it now gotten to the point where it's like, oh, he's just joking? He's just joking. That's how Charleston do.
Kev, you a damn.
I'm just saying, when is
I think they watch them and just don't take them too serious no more. But they still watch.
But you know what? There's a lot of people that feel like that, though.
Kamar, that's where I was about to say to you is that this is just like one of them songs where you putting it out there and you're influencing some young little brother right now is listening to this saying, my mama ain't shit, according to him.
Right.
Like, this is raising a generation of derelicts. I don't understand, because I think he's a smart dude. And at this point, like, okay, we caught your gig. Your shtick was you come in and say some foul shit and you hit us with the ism, and that's fine. But at this point, you don't have to still do that, because wherever you say now, people are gonna listen. Now you can come across and say what you need to say, and you know, you don't have to do that. But once again, I'm listening, I'm watching, and I also. My counterbalance is somebody else who he doesn't like, who he's spoken very disrespectful to, is I put a lot of things in the People's News Network by the great minister Farrakhan. Farrakhan, if you've never listened to Farrakhan speak, you need to. He drops gems, I'm trying to tell you. And you can say, I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Muslim either. I'm not a member of the NOI. But a lot of the things he says make so much sense for us as Black people. And what makes sense just makes sense. I don't care who you with. You know what I'm saying? This is Kerry Walker.
I always say it. You don't have to like the messenger, just get the message.
Yeah. And so, but some people, Kamar, they can't see the forest for the trees because they're so focused on their ego and their bias. And a lot of people, I say this all the time. People say, Kev, I research too. That's what they tell me. When I say do your research, they say, I do research too. But do you research without bias? Because if you're just looking for shit to support what you said, then that's not research.
Can you truly not have bias though? Because I'm very biased.
Yes, you can. You can absolutely remove your bias from research. You can say, "Let me find out the truth about this." Ask the question several different ways, and don't just focus on things that agree with what you said. So you can say, "See, I was right." Because I guarantee you, for every point you make, there's going to be a counterpoint to it.
I guess.
I ain't no guess.
I think. Listen, if you can get to the point where you understand that you don't know everything, you know what I mean? There's more information out here about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can learn more. It is more. You got to be open. This is how you make yourself a better person. You're getting rid of your old thinking patterns and you collecting new off of information. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be open to receive the information.
Right. And dig this. And I learned this when I was studying my doctoral studies. You come up with a dissertation, you come up with a topic, you come up with a statement. And in my mind, I picked out my topic and I selected what I was going to talk about, made my statement, my declaration, because I thought I was studying something that I knew the absolute truth to. So in the end, it would show how dope and smart I am. Until I started doing the research. And I said, wait a minute. This ain't saying what I thought it would say. You know what I'm saying? I started saying, let me look at this from another perspective. Let me research it from a different perspective. And then what I came to was that nothing is 100%. So you have to research without bias. I got to go into this saying, I want to know the answer to the question. I don't necessarily want to be right. And I can accept it if my research shows me that I wasn't right.
Right.
My job is not to skew the data so that I can look good. If somebody's going to come right along behind you and debunk it, and it's going to make you look dumb as hell. So you have to remove bias from research. You know what I'm saying? You have to do it, and it can be done. Because a lot of people can quote a lot of people who say things that agree with them. Nobody really can quote somebody who doesn't agree with them. I can. Not because I'm the greatest. I'm just saying because I learned how to remove the bias. I learned how to say, let me look at both sides. And there's some facts and some lies on both sides. And somewhere in the middle is the truth. Right? So learn how to research without bias. That's what I would tell people. Don't just say I'm going on Kev's show and I'm finna go find every source that say the same thing I say that agree with me. Don't do that, because you're probably gonna come on here and somebody else knows the counterpoint to that and say, yeah, but so and so said this, that, and the third. Oh, I don't know nothing about that. Then you haven't done research. You haven't researched your topic. That's all I'm saying.
It's okay if you didn't know.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not a big fucking deal if you didn't know something. You know now, nigga.
Dion corrected me. What was it? What was we talking about? He corrected me on something, and I thought he was wrong. And I went and looked, and I came back on the show and said, nah, I had to give you your props. You was right about that. I didn't know. I thought I didn't know. I went and done the research. He was right about that. See how easy that was?
Mm-hmm.
See how easy? Now, sometimes Dion don't know what the hell he talking about, so I had to get him straight. We know. We have to get him straight sometimes. Carrie Walker Jones is making a great point in the chat room, especially in this area. She said a lot of Barada properties is what's going on Hampton. Barada properties. Who's he renting to? Kamar. Is he building human zoos with the most dysfunctional, low-income individuals he can find and putting them in the same building? How is he categorizing who gets placed where?
Right.
That's crazy, man.
Damn, that was a good point. Shout out to Carrie Walker Jones.
That was roguish. That was roguish to talk about our people.
Bogus.
It was roguish.
It's
but you know what, though? Like,
when
when you be looking at shit though, cuz like I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Like you know, y'all know what my profession is. You know what I'm saying, for now. And like certain neighborhoods, the alleys be clean, and you could just go through there. And when you go through some, I'm talking about them motherfuckers is savage.
Filthy, right?
We dumped the garbage can the other day. That motherfucker had so many roaches in there when we dumped it. I know people's house got roaches now that they had roaches. Cause do you know them roaches had to be some motherfucking cannibals to live outside in all the elements? And we turned that garbage can upside down. Them motherfuckers went in the garbage can. They fell all in the street. I ain't never seen that many roaches. I done seen a motherfucking house that I thought a king roach lived in that motherfucker with so many roaches. But with this garbage can, though, it was like the garbage can was just full of roaches.
So
like
let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
So in those areas where it's really extra filthy McNasty, right? Is it the white man's fault that these people live like this? Is it a white man making sure that happens? Or is it a group of people who are just not taking enough responsibility, accountability, and pride in where they live or how they're living?
I think to be honest with you, Kevin, it's a little bit of both.
How is it the white man's fault?
How?
I mean, because we have to go all the way back to post-traumatic slave syndrome.
No. This motherfucker only lived in this apartment for 3 months.
Like a motherfucker just, they made your self-esteem and who you is feel so low that you just don't give a fuck about your living conditions, you know? And like, and don't get me wrong. Wait, hold on, kid. Don't get me wrong. You know, we go through there, you know, with a little bit of caring, you know, but the city needs to come through and clean them goddamn alleys up because it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about they savage, you know. You got a garbage can and the garbage I'm talking about, man, I don't even know, man. I can't even tell you, but what?
Are you seriously sitting here trying to tell me that there's people who live in filth and won't
squalor.
Take measures in squalor? Good word, squalor. And it's because of slavery or post-traumatic slave syndrome. The white man has you that beat down that you want to live in a house full of bugs and listen, that is asinine at best. Come on, man.
The white man had told the psychology of the black man down, man. Our mental, man.
Then why you ain't living with roaches? Because you black and you from the hood. You from Chicago.
Everybody ain't like that.
Why Kamar? Why am I not? Why is my friends? I got so many friends who don't live with roaches and rats and who don't live in pigsties and who don't live in what you call it, squalor. Why is this a selected few that have these common traits and their communities all mirror each other?
I don't know.
That is
But why
not
is it
a
so
white
hard
man's.
for
That
you
is white. That is not a white man's fault. That's not a
But
white
I just
man's
want to
fault.
ask you a question, though, Ken. Why is it so hard for you to believe that the white man has did something to the psyche of the black man to make us not care about our living conditions, to make us care about not wanting to harm each other? You know what I'm saying? Like all type of things. Like why is that so hard?
You know
though?
what? You know why? Because if you, as a grown up, are cool with living in these conditions, you know what your problem is? It ain't got nothing to do with the white man. You have mental illness. It's a mental health issue. It has nothing to do with what a white man done to you. It has nothing to do with it. Especially when, like you said, in some of those areas you're going through, there might be one clean alley, and then the next alley over look like what the fuck.
Hell yeah, you ain't never lied.
So what? So how is this? It's not about what a white man. This is mental health. That's just mental illness that's running rampant in communities. Now, will I say that poverty and generational poverty and being underserved in a community where they just kind of sweep you under the rug, if that's what you want to say is the white man's contribution to it, I will agree with you on that. But I'm not going to say, see what post-traumatic slave syndrome did to us. No. I'm saying if you ain't got no problem living in complete filth, it's that you have mental health issues. Look at these hoarders. You ever watch that show?
Yeah, I just was by somebody's car.
Those people have mental health issues. I'm just a filthy motherfucker. That's why I live like this. Like, no.
Yeah, they do got a lot of mental health issues.
Once again, this is what happens. This is what happens when we stop caring about the plight of other people. We say, fuck, no, I don't care about this dirty ass. Look at him. He needs to stop listening to the white man instead of saying, hey, man, there's some mental health issues here. I talk to people every day. I talk to people every day who are low-hanging fruit because of their mental capacity. And they get subjugated and put into situations. Then I see some people who are going through it and say, I'm not accepting that. I might be off. I might be on the spectrum, but I ain't living like that. But there's some people who can't control it. So my point is, instead of being so quick to blame the white man, we need to look inside and say, what's our contribution to this? Because Barada shouldn't be allowed to place the poorest, most desperate, economically deprived people in one apartment building. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? And let alone 7 of them sitting next to each other. With these big ass rocks and shit, this shit looks like almost like a camp. Something needs to be said about this. My sister hit it on the head. I got to give her that one. I wasn't even thinking about the proximity of, because he pretty much owns this stretch of Hampton right there. And then you got this Arab-owned this store. I ain't gonna even get into that. That's something from when we was Panthers. And we was trying to tell people about Starks. They don't give a shit about the community. But, black people would leave our Arabs. That's our store. They give us cigarettes on credit. Carrie Walker Jones said, Charleston is, if crack was whack, a person. She said, if crack, is he a crackhead? I just think right now, he is just the mixture of ego and bravado and like, he's like a black Trump. Like, he'll just say the stupidest shit and just, they eating our pets.
And niggas go crazy.
Right. So he'll say at this point, whatever he had in going on with his positivity, this is my, like Dion say, this is my opinion. I think it's lost. I think it's lost in his negativity. I don't like anybody who chooses to berate black women continuously, just over and over and over. Black women ain't shit. Black women ain't shit. Black, you can't do this. You can't do that. My mama was black. So was my grandmother's. So was the mother of my children, my wife. I don't want to hear this shit, and I don't think it's funny. And you don't have to say this kind of shit to get me to talk about or think about the issues that we have as black men and black women amongst each other, because we have several. Part of it's on us, part of it's on them. We have made each other the way we are. Ain't nobody gonna hold more blame than the other. There's some things women have done that they continue to do. We know that a woman can be what they call them, succubus. if she chooses to use her powers for bad, for evil. But a man can too. He can become a brute and a savage if he chooses to utilize his powers for evil. We need to connect on a human level as opposed to always looking for somebody to blame for some shit. We don't really enter in the situation saying, let me be the best person I could be in this situation, and not, because blame is enough room to go around, and somebody gonna fuck up. Like, we know nobody's perfect, but I feel like most of the time we're jaded. Now, this might be some, Dion, you could say that I might agree with you on, because of what's happened to us in this country for so long. We are jaded. We're very pessimistic. Our expectations are very low. Like, we go into a situation like, shit, look at all these white people. I might as well hang this up. We've given up before we've gotten in the game a lot of times. He said, sir, some of us black men don't take care of their kids. Some white men don't take care of their kids. Some Asian men don't take care of their kids. I mean, what's the point? I mean, if you're just saying that that's a part of a problem, that is a problem in the community when a brother don't take care of his kids. I'm just saying we're not the poster children for that. There's a lot of men in this country who ain't taking care of their kids from a multitude of races. He said some people don't care about living with cockroaches. That's what I'm saying. That's a mental illness, though. That's a mental illness. I feel like it is. I'm going Dion again. Matter of fact, we just kicked the disclaimer. The opinions expressed on Outlaw Radio are solely those of the motherfucker that said it. Know who to be mad at. Put it like that. I'm tired of saying it's my opinion. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. Ain't got to keep doing that.
I still got a phobia from opening my cabinet with my cereal bowl at the bottom, because I was by one of my guys. My guy, he was a savage back then too. Man, this man was flipping a hamburger and smacked the roach on the wall and continued flipping the hamburger. I said, Lord have mercy. So I spent the night over there one day, and then I opened my motherfucking cereal bowl. I opened the cabinet to get some, and a motherfucking roach fell in my cereal. So even today, I don't put, and I ain't got no roaches in my tip, but I don't like having my cereal bowl up under the cabinet if I'm going to go looking in there for something. I don't even like having my cereal bowl up under the cabinet.
Wow.
Period, because that shit, yeah.
Traumatized.
Motherfucking a roach is boy. Motherfucking roach in your cereal, nigga, you got to throw the whole bowl away. You ain't going to even want to eat no more cereal because that roach contaminated the bowl and everything. You got to damn near bleach the bowl, throw it out. But yeah, man, like I said.
Ernest in the chat room, he said, nah, ain't no excuse for being a filthy motherfucker. Carrie Walker Jones
roaches don't always mean you filthy, though, bro.
She said,
rats and roaches don't mean you filthy.
Well, the fact that you accept living with them instead of trying to get rid of them, I would think, and making sure, because see, the conditions that attract them, you have to regulate too. Like, you can't be having a nasty ass crib because they're gonna come to eat. That's like, it's free food. Like, yeah, so you gotta. The filthy part comes in when you know you got these roaches and these rats, and you still sitting around with shit everywhere. And it's like, yo, I had a partner. I had a partner who I dealt with this with, and I used to tell him like, yo, like I would go to his house and like sit with my coat in my lap, like I'm just got my beer in my hand, like, because I don't want no passengers when I go home. Carrie Walker Jones said, I lived on Hampton and them motherfuckers found every excuse not to pick up my garbage. Over here in predominantly white, they damn near clean the cans. That's on Dion them, not picking up people garbage and shit. Y'all pick up people garbage, stop being racist. Earl said they nasty, boy, they nasty. Ernest said the white man didn't make you go live tweaking with a 2-year-old baby with a shitty pamper on. Ooh. Ouch.
People don't want to accept the fact that people suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome. And regardless of the fact, I still feel like the white man has a lot to do with how we live and our behavior and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't understand what that shit did to us. Growing up knowing that you was a fucking piece of shit, you was a slave. We weren't taught about we were kings and queens and came from Africa, and
everybody from Africa wasn't no king.
And I know, Kev.
We do know that. I think we do know that, Dion. We know that. We know what them folks did. What we saying is, at this point, we know what happened. So when you know what happened, man, it's time to start fixing this shit. We can't keep using it as listen, we can't keep using it as an excuse. Once you know what's wrong with something, you fix it.
I agree with you, but some people can't talk about that. They get stagnated. You know what I'm saying?
We going back and forth. We going back and forth. It's just that we saying, yeah, that's what happened. But at this point, we can't use it as an excuse.
I know people that ain't got no felony and ain't got no job, ain't doing. I like, man, I got a felony conviction, and you can't, nigga, you gonna be a policeman.
White folks ain't do that to them. Hey, white folks ain't do that to them, Dion.
Well, yeah, they did.
You got a job, nigga. You went and got you a job because you knew that's what was best.
Okay.
I got 2 jobs.
Apparently, the mental disorder comes when people don't know what's best. They don't know how to grow up. Their brain don't evolve into an adult. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
Here's a tip.
They refuse to grow up. They refuse to take in new information. My life has to change now. You know what I mean? It's shit I got to do. So what? I done forgot about that shit back then. I need to know what I need to do now because I got to survive.
And here's a tip. If you are defining yourself right now based on what the white man thinks about you, stop. It's wrong. If you are taking and developing your own self-image and your self-esteem centered around what a white man thinks about you, stop. First of all, you have to understand, by and large, most white people could give a shit less about us anyways. They're too busy trying to hold down what they have and keeping it to themselves. Those people in northern Wisconsin who don't like black people aren't obsessed with us. They don't give one shit about us. Why should they? They are able to live in a community where there is none of us. So you certainly ain't thinking about some motherfuckers who ain't on there. There's probably towns in Wisconsin where there's 0% chance that a black person will ever live there. And probably somewhere there's never been a black person there.
Yeah.
And so why would they don't have a perspective on us. They're not thinking about, this is how I want this motherfucker to see himself or herself. They don't give a shit. They'll tell you in a minute, I wouldn't go anywhere near goddamn Milwaukee.
They do.
So,
and I hate to hear that.
So my point is, why are we so preoccupied with them? I get there's a systematic undercurrent, but we are way too preoccupied with them. And I don't call that post-slave syndrome. I call that mental illness. Your brain is not functioning like it should. It's not. It's the computer ain't Putin, bro. Like Kamar said, your perspective needs to be enhanced.
So what would take for you to accept that the post-traumatic slave syndrome is actually something that people, because you have to understand, now listen to me before you interrupt me, just like high blood pressure and diabetes and all that is hereditary and it goes back to what our ancestors ate as their diet. Like you can blood pressure in your family, then you get hit with it. And then you find out maybe your great-great-grandmama or somebody because we were genetically inclined to eat. I mean, it was genetically inclined to us because of things that we went through far as in our diet and lifestyle of living. You don't think knowing every day that your ass get your head cracked, you get whipped, you see your children sold, you are seeing your best friend sold, you see master coming through, raping you and all that, that doesn't wear on your psyche and then genetically it passed down through your lineage. You understand what I'm saying? So some of these things that we are talking about, people can't identify because it's woven into their DNA. You feel what I'm saying? Like real life talk. And maybe it doesn't affect everybody like it affects some. You feel what I'm saying? But some people just don't feel like they deserve better. Some people don't feel like they could do better. Some people they in a slump and you can't bring them up out of it. You know, it's not that they're depressed. It's not that they're sad. It's that they have been conditioned to live a certain type of way and they don't see themselves living no other type of way. You feel what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know what you're saying. And here's
maybe lazy with their self-work.
Well, but hold on. You just named
maybe they just lazy with their self-work.
You just named a bunch of things that happen 300 years ago. Okay. Now, if you want to talk diabetes, high blood pressure, let's go there. Historically, we had a diet, Kamar, where we were given the scraps. We made them delicacies. It wasn't healthy. It did create a situation where a lot of us are just inherited it, right? But first of all, everybody got to die from something. That's my first thing, okay? Second of all, it's like leukemia. White people can get leukemia. There's white people with diabetes, believe it or not. There's white people with high blood pressure, believe it or not. Okay, so when we
use that as an example,
well, hold on, just let me finish this. When we own something, it becomes ours. So if we're gonna say, see, this is why I got diabetes, because the slaves had it, but you can't trace. You got to trace 300 years back to the slave. Now, Kamar, this is my last piece. Knowing that this run in your family, so I've known for a very long time that diabetes and high blood pressure run in my family, right? Have I ever taken the time to live and eat healthy? No. I've never said I want.
And that's what I was finna get at right there. You know what I mean? Like, because even with the health and the diabetes and everything, at this point, we got people telling us this is what's wrong. This is why. Just like you talking about the traumas, Dion, people was telling them, listen, man, this is what's wrong. This is why. Now, it's up to you. A motherfucker can lead you to the water, but it's up to you to drink it. You know what I mean? Like, it's information out here. Like I said earlier, you have to open yourself up to information. You got to understand I don't know everything. People get so fucking rock-headed and feel like they know every motherfucking thing, and you can't teach them shit. So they stay stuck in that trauma.
And you know, like I said, you said something. You said you leave them in water, but you can't make them drink, right?
Yeah.
If you put half of the energy into finding solutions that you do into hating someone, you're probably gonna get a solution pretty quickly. It takes a lot to hate somebody, especially if you hating somebody to the point where it's affecting you physically. You're so full of hate that you refuse to even try.
Or use the energy to learn how to fix something before you start thinking about something else that's wrong. Let's fix this problem first.
Where's your focus? Where's your focus? Now, this is okay. Carrie Walker, she said the mayor's on Hampton. Now, I bet you he is. I bet you he is. I bet you he is.
How you speak, Kevin? How you talking?
It's Obama time. We, as a community, need to come up with solutions to curb violence in our city.
I'm sick of this.
Right.
I'm just sick of this.
It's a problem in our city, and we're working very hard behind the scenes. I've assembled a group that I'll be meeting with in the morning. Like, it's gonna be a press conference tomorrow, boy.
These are gonna be the words we hear in the press conference. Man.
People ironing up their suits tonight, man. Motherfuckers ironing their school clothes. It's gonna be a press conference tomorrow. I'm gonna be on camera with the mayor, right?
The only reason they talking about it because they said an officer injured in the shooting. That's it.
Well, that's it.
Well, anytime that happens in a community, though, that is a red flag. It's time to do something now. That means it's lawless. That means it's borderline anarchy when the cops can get it. When the
cops be on bullshit though. That's like in Chicago last week. The police was chasing somebody and ended up shooting another officer and killing her with friendly fire. You know what I'm saying? So these those scary ass policemen, they be so quick to try to up the pistol on somebody that he probably shot his own officer trying to hit the suspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's something needs to be done. And we're going to be mad if the police presence there is increased. And it's going to be those homeowners, those peaceful citizens, those people who are really just trying to survive. It's going to be those people who suffer the consequences of this occupation of, all of a sudden we got extra patrols. There's police everywhere. We can't really even have a good time, and that's what I'm saying. In our communities, we have to reverse the trend of this being looked upon as something cool. Like, I think for a lot of people, they say, man, I'm from a tough ass neighborhood. Motherfucker, blow your head off where I'm from. It's almost like a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, I came from the toughest hood in Milwaukee. Right. That don't mean you tough.
That ain't no flex.
You see, we represent Murder Mill, though. We call it Murder Mill.
Toxic as fuck. That ain't no flex.
No.
I'm gonna be in St. Louis represent Murder Mill.
I don't represent no murder mill. I hear you say that. I say I'm from Milwaukee.
Right.
I might say the mill. I'm not claiming, yeah, I'm from a city where you just get your shit blowed off. It's cool. It's what we do. That's not, because there's so many good people in Milwaukee who want nothing better than to live in a thriving, progressive, positive, uplifting community, to be able to raise their family. Most black people are not derelicts. I don't know how many times I have to say that. Most black people, and if you go door to door in the neighborhood, you're going to ring some doorbells. And I've done this because I've done community organizing. Okay. Where I've literally knocked on every door in the neighborhood with resource information. And you meet some people who will come out and talk to you and say, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I noticed this in the neighborhood and this, that, and the third. And can I get your card? And I'll call you. And you're going to meet some people who look through the door and be like, get your ass off my porch. You know what I'm saying? So there's a small element. It's just like, how many people right now are celebrating their children graduating from high school? Yay, my baby made it. My baby made it. Hundreds, thousands, right? But then there's a small element of brothers and sisters, youngsters who didn't graduate from high school.
He got to make it through the summer, though, too.
Well, what I'm saying is the amount of children, all of our young people ain't bad. All of our young people are not corrupt. All of our young people, all our young black males ain't young killers, young thugs, wannabe. You got some young dudes who seriously saying, I'm just trying to get out of here. I'm trying to become something. I want to do something. Mm-hmm. Now, then you got some who be like, yeah, I don't get no fuck on the G. Yeah, I do this, I do that. Well, we know where that's going to lead them. But I'm just saying, the few can affect the many. And so we got to turn the pressure up on the few to say, hey, man, I've said this many times. Anytime when we were in the streets hustling and somebody was doing stupid shit, shooting his gun off, slapping around hypes, beating up hypes, we tell them, man, you got to get the fuck out of here. You're making the whole block hot. Can't nobody get no money out here because of your dumb ass. Mm-hmm. So that's what we got to start doing. Like I can't even have my cookout in peace now. I'm in my yard. I done paid all my bills. I got my family out here. We chilling. Hear your ass come through shooting at somebody over some bullshit.
But believe it or not, though, a lot of people idolize criminalistic behavior that they don't have to do it. Because the other day we was driving through the alley. Now, Grant Street is the nicest street damn near on that Sherman area.
It is. It's the jewel. So
I see a little guy in the back of Grant Street, him and his friends, and he put on a Pooh Shiesty mask. And I'm like, nigga, you should have seen the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, in my head, I want to talk to him, say something to him like, little bro, I see the house you coming from. I seen your dad the other day, or your grandfather, whoever he was. You know what I'm saying? Because he was cutting down a limb, I guess, when we had that little storm back here. And he came, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you don't have to live like this. Like I wish I would have grew up in a house like this, a brick fucking big. I'm talking about, like, they house is like the third largest house on the block. And why you back here putting on the Pooh Shiesty mask? You know what I'm saying? Your parents probably have bought you a car. You wearing nice. You got the brand new Jordans came out. Like,
you're making an assumption without even considering that he might be a youngster who is adopted or staying with his grandparents because he doesn't have, he's been from a dysfunctional, environment. We never know, Dion. We make assumptions. And just because he put a Pooh Shiesty mask on, because for some of these dudes, it's a defense mechanism. Like, I agree. You're right. I want to look like a killer so these niggas won't fuck with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we got to be quick. That's why we always have to at least give youngsters a chance to say, hey, brother, are you interested in escaping this life, youngster? Well, I got this. I got that. I'm dealing with this. I didn't ask you that. I asked you, do you want better? Yeah. Okay. Well, let me show you the way. And if you're willing to do it, I'm willing to work with you. We're missing out on that for a lot of the youngsters who already been labeled bad or he out here. Man, most of the dudes you see in these mobs and these groups are horrified. Catch them by themselves. You want to know the mark of a real thug is? Anybody in our neighborhood got respect when they got caught by themselves and they still stood their ground. Not because y'all always jumping somebody. We look down on that. Like, why you niggas always got to jump somebody? Shoot the fair one. One fight, go head up. You got known and you got respected for being able to handle your own even when the odds is against you. I done seen brothers get jumped and they get beat up and they say, look, man, at least he stood his ground and fought back. He got more respect for that than he did by helping somebody. Oh man, we jumped on dude. It was 15 of us and we beat the hell out of him. It was only 3 of them. You a coward. And then what happens when you do get caught by yourself and you're a coward? You either gonna shoot and kill the wrong person, shoot and kill the person you intend on killing, or pull it out and get killed yourself. You see what I'm saying? So it's a shift in the mentality, and I think there's a lot of factors. Like tonight, we referenced the culture and the music and all that kind of stuff, and we talked about a lot of different parts of it tonight. But I think we have to come up with some solutions. You ain't gonna be able to solve everything, but it's some bottom line stuff we can kind of fix, right? Like, number one, changing the culture in our neighborhoods. Saying, you know what, y'all keep talking about no snitching. If you don't want me to snitch, don't steal my shit. Don't kill nobody who's affiliated with me. No, I'm telling on your ass. I know that's unpopular. Kamar. But I ain't gonna lie. If I see you drive past in a car shooting and you hit a little kid, if there's any way I can do it confidentially, I'm probably gonna tell on your ass. You just murdered a little baby. You just murdered a baby.
Yeah.
It's some street shit. It wasn't until you hit that little 6-year-old.
Well, you're a civilian now, Kev, so that ain't snitching.
This is true.
Taking care, you looking out for your community now.
But Kamar, even when I was in the streets, if I was with my partner and he raped a girl.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. He would bring him up on charges right there in the hood, and he gets fucked up.
Nigga, you out of pocket, man.
Yeah.
That's how you move, and you can't even kick it with us no more. That's the type of shit you own, and somebody gonna tell on your ass. You gotta watch the nigga.
Drop a dime.
You gotta watch the nigga standing in the back, ain't saying nothing. he taking notes.
Come on, so I can wipe your boots.
He about to send your ass up. Ernest had a question for Dion. He said, ask Dion if he was making $48 an hour, but the white man made $50. Is he gonna quit his job?
Come on, man. He be tripping, man.
I mean, he asked you a question. Would you quit if you found out, hey man, we doing the same job? We both here doing the same work every day. We've been here the same amount of time, and you making $2 more than me an hour. Are you gonna quit?
I would have some consideration into coming talking to human resources about what's going on, and then if I feel like we can't resolve the issue, then I gotta maybe look elsewhere. Okay. Like right now, I'm looking elsewhere. Motherfuckers think because you work for the city, this, that, and other. Man, I hate that fucking job. On the real, it's gonna kill it. I'm just trying to I'm hanging in there. I got a mortgage to pay. I got dogs to take care of. I like to travel. I like to shop. So, I got to keep my lifestyle going on. But at the end of the day, I'm even thinking about taking a pay cut. I don't give a fuck. I just want to get up out of there, man. Because sometimes money ain't everything. And I ain't making more money. I ain't making more money than I was making driving trucks. Because I was making 30 driving trucks and getting a straight 8. And I make $27.68 here getting a straight 8. So, but I work 2 jobs, though. So, like, every 2 weeks I get almost $2,000. So, man, it is what it is.
You don't got to tell all your business on the show either.
Life ain't too bad. I'm going to St. Louis.
The way you complain and make excuses for dysfunction, a motherfucker would think you somewhere living in a trap house selling woos and shit. You know what I'm saying? This dude is
I stay on 79th to Silver Spring. Got 3 cars. House full of clothes. Bank account.
Where's post slave? What about you post slave? Where that's at? I thought you was post slave. What you call it? Slavery syndrome.
I'm fighting the post slave.
I thought it's post. Didn't the white man make you feel less than?
I'm fighting it every day. Like, look, right now, I got to go to bed. Well, the show about to be over anyway.
That's a hell of a fight. Friday. That's a hell of a fight. Earl Henry in the chat room, he's saying he is working on trying to make the Riverwalk better. He's doing a bunch of different stuff, but none of it seems to be directly connected to solutions for us. It is the argument that I'm not just the black mayor. I'm everybody's mayor. Meanwhile, the black community is fucking burning to the ground. Like it's real stupid. But who elected him? We did overwhelmingly. So what needs to happen? It's got to be some changes made, correct? Are we willing to make those changes? Even if there's a white candidate who comes along who has a long-term set of comprehensive solutions for the city, are we gonna say, you know what? I'm voting for this white dude over. I ain't gonna just vote for the dude because he black. I'm unhappy with his leadership. It wouldn't matter what color he is. If I disagree with how the city is going, then I'm going to say, because we was just as critical of Mayor Barrett. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We was super critical of Mayor Barrett, who's buying, and he's back. And I seen him at the press conference the other day. I'm like,
I think he's probably gonna come get his throne back.
Like, when old Bad News Barrett creep back in town, he's posted up at the press conference in the back tomorrow, like, yeah, I'm back, bitches. about to be some buildings built around this motherfucker. I'm back, right?
I'm gone, y'all. I'm about to get to bed, man.
Peace.
You can't ask. Damn, man, you trying to get me off the phone that quick? But look, man, y'all
when
be
somebody
cool.
say they gone, I hold them to it.
That usually mean bye. Right?
Hey, y'all be cool. Y'all take it easy. Y'all stay away from that shit. Stay off Hampton. You know, love you guys, man. It's always much fun. You know, motherfucker got to go to sleep, get up, slave for the white man in the morning. But y'all know I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put my smile on my face.
Yes,
and I'm gonna try not to snap the fuck out. You hear me?
You ain't gonna snap.
Outlaw for life, huh?
Think about them dogs every time you get ready to snap. You think about them dogs. They gotta eat. You ain't gonna snap.
All right, bro.
All right,
love.
Man. All right. Earl Henning said nowadays anybody can get it. Kamar, was you about to say something? Because okay. So there was big talk this week about, and this is in the Podverse, DJ Vlad and Lord Jamar. And I think we touched on this the other day about Lord Jamar going back on Vlad TV. If you follow this kind of stuff, you know, we talked about culture vultures on here and, you know, what's going on with the culture now in which the gang members and the murders and the shooters and the looters all of a sudden have become celebrities. They can get on YouTube and get 500,000 views and get a check. And Vlad and Adam 22 seem to kind of dive into this head first and say, let's bring the most dysfunctional black people we can possibly find. And then the lines of questioning that they do are suspect. And sometimes when somebody's down and out, it is easier to manipulate them, even if they don't really understand that they're being manipulated. You feel what I'm saying? So these have been critiques. And then came the disrespect of the minister. And I'm one of those black dudes who really, really, really loves the message of the minister. I think he is one of the greatest black leaders we've ever had. I think he has been the preeminent black leader we've had over the last 30 years. I think he brings power to life when he speaks. And I respect and revere him. And I look down and on any white man who dares say something foul about Minister Farrakhan, I'm turning you off. I'm not listening to you. And he lied on the minister because he himself is Jewish. And so he had these preconceived notions. So what he did was a 360. Now he went on Willie D's show, and I rock with Willie D. I really do. Like I said, Willie D was on my show a long time ago. He wasn't even podcasting yet. And I loved his music. And so when he went on Willie D, and I think Willie D's approach to it was just like, yeah, he let it be known that I had cut you off and I stopped fucking with you over the Farrakhan thing, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to come on my show and apologize, which I thought, okay, that's cool. Did I take the apology serious? No. Because he's still going to swim in the mud. He's still going to swim in the muck and the mire when it comes to us. Right. But Lord Jamar was one of the first who also identifies himself as a Muslim, not necessarily NOI, but a 5%er. He decided after 5 years, he would go back on Vlad. And I watched it and I was like, this is a horrible look for you, bro. Like, you've lost a lot of points. But at first I wasn't quick to just say, oh, Lord Jamar's a sellout and all this kind of stuff, because Willie D had said, okay, I'm going to let him apologize on my show. But when I listened to the conversation, when I heard some of the stuff he said, and I watched the interview, I watched pieces of it, he just came off as a really disingenuous person. And it's like, every time you hear somebody saying some good black stuff, don't mean they really mean it. It doesn't really mean that they're really dedicated to the cause, right? And we're easily fooled by some of these talking heads that we see on the media. So I don't know. What do you think about this? Would you have gone back on Vlad? Because you say, well, life is about growing up and forgiving people and all this kind of stuff. how do you see this move?
Well, I mean, at this point, this is what he do. He talk. He go on podcasts and stuff and talk for a check. He going to get the check. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know where he at in life or what's going on in his personal life. Bad he may need that check, right? That perks, you know what I mean, specifically. You know what I'm saying? But like I say again, this is what he do. He a podcaster. He podcast. Paid for it. It really shouldn't matter if you like somebody or not, if you working, because you're going to get the money for your family. You out here in the world getting the money for your family. You know what I mean? So get the money. As long as you ain't slutting yourself out for the money, get the money.
But see, I think that's what people's problem is. They feel like this was a move, first of all, that he didn't. And I think you make a good point. And we don't know what he got going on. We don't know what's happening. Right. But it feels like he sacrifices integrity to do this. And the conversation is like Willie D was kind of in charge of the conversation. Like Willie D was kind of like, nah, man, you was dead out of wrong. You was wrong. Nah, man. And I had to cut you off. You know what I'm saying? I had to let you know I got a problem with that. I felt like Lord Jamar was more passive, almost like Nelly-ish. Because I've never looked at Nelly the same since the Trump thing. Kamar, I used to, if I'm riding out here, Nelly come on, some of his songs, I would just let it play. I skip immediately now. I just can't rock with Nelly. I can't rock with Nelly. And so I used to be a person who, I love Brand Nubians, first of all. And I thought I liked Jamar. I thought he had some important, real commentary.
Once you put your integrity at stake, it's hard to answer questions about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's awkward as fuck. Because you know better.
Yeah. And also I've ran across, and I put this in the People's Network. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. They were interviewing Speech from Arrested Development. And he said, I felt like had I stayed in Milwaukee, I would have died. And he went on in this interview to talk about how bad Milwaukee is, in particular for Black people, and how it's just this place where he felt personally that this city would have taken his life. He had certain homeboys who lost their lives. Rest in peace to TA. I've been to TA Day before. I don't know if you've ever been to TA Day. That's the North Line boys. Shout out to the North Line boys. But I felt like he's never showed the city love. So, Kamar, if the city is a challenge, right? There's some shit going on.
I was going to ask you, did he lie?
Well, I think if you're going to talk about that, it's important for you to say there are some great people in Milwaukee, and you don't have to. It's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility. But I feel like there's some people he could have referenced and say, don't get me wrong. It's some good people there. I had love there in certain, and I don't know his life, so I don't know, but I just feel like if it's all shitting on us, it's just continuously just shitting on us, but you're also not coming back unless he's doing something I don't know about. It's the classic example of your criticism outweighing your contribution. That's just the way I look at it. So go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, like, is it true what he said about Milwaukee? You know what I mean? I heard a lot of facts in there, and then, a lot of people that leave Milwaukee, that's some of the stuff that they say on the reason why they left.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So whether he's from Milwaukee, I like whoever it is speaking about Milwaukee, I mean, like any city, if you telling the truth, like, how can anybody get mad at you? Just because you ain't from there, you can't tell the truth about that place.
That's a valid point, but I don't feel like it's just about him telling the truth about it. Like I feel like I don't know if it's some girl who I feel like there's something else, Kamar. Like it's not because we know. Listen, now you and I both can testify to the shit that goes on in Milwaukee, right? We can both talk and say, man, motherfuckers get killed. There's a lot of crime and da-da-da. But in the same verse, we can always say, but on the other side, there's also this. There's also that. There's You know, we have a cultural epicenter here that some cities don't even have. Meaning our food, our music, our art, our clothing. We have an epicenter here of that. Okay. So to not acknowledge that, I just feel like it's intentional for you to shit on the city, which I get it. I get it. It is what it is. I'm just saying, me personally, knowing that you've never showed the city love, that you've never said, like, you didn't come back and try to help nobody out.
Like, I wonder, like, what was I like to hear the context. I'm gonna go to it and check it out. But like maybe, like, was the question, like, I'm wondering, was the question like, why did you leave Milwaukee?
No.
Or tell me about Milwaukee and why you left.
So I'll give you exactly what it was, and I'll give you the context. And when you go see it, you're gonna say, damn, he wasn't lying. So I don't know if you're familiar with B High, from ATL. He's really big. Okay, so he has, and he's well respected in Atlanta, because that's where he kind of said, this is me. So he asked him basically, well, how did you get on hip hop? Like, what, how did you fall in love with hip hop? And he was saying, hey, from an early age, I was around music. It was a lot of culture around me growing up. It was a lot of art and stuff like that, and creativity. And then he said, way back when I was in Milwaukee. So then dude said, okay, so how was that growing up in Milwaukee? And he said, oh man, Milwaukee is just this place where it's one of the most difficult places. And this is where the truth that you're talking about comes in. It's one of the most difficult places to grow up Black. He said most of the Black people in Milwaukee are poor. He said, if you grew up in Milwaukee, you Black, you probably poor. Now, for me, it kind of hits because I didn't grow up poor. I'm not poor right now, right? I know a lot of brothers and sisters here who are far from poor. So this is what I'm saying. When you make certain statements, you should be fair and say, hey, there's some people from Milwaukee and some good people here. Look at all the people who you network with on a daily basis, Kamar. Mm-hmm. How could you ever, no matter how much success you achieve, how could you ever forget or disregard them and say, hey man, I started my business in Milwaukee and it's a tough place, but people up there supported me. They invested in my dream and I was able to bubble up. And now I go back, because if it was that bad for me, you know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to come back and help some other people.
Did he bubble here or did he go there? And then
he bubbled there. Off? He tells the whole story. He left here. He said he left it. He said he used to throw parties, and he had a party. Somebody pulled a gun on him. He said that the day he graduated, him and his cousin moved to Georgia, and they moved to Atlanta, and they moved to a part, Atlanta in the 90s, everybody was going to Atlanta. And he said they moved to a part of town where it was real kind of like what I talked about, being really heavily culturally ethnic, with Black people and artists. Mm-hmm. And it's like a Black artist enclave, and it was by the colleges. And so he was able to get immersed in that culture. And then he got to go to the Art Institute of Atlanta, where he started to meet people, and they formulated the group, and it goes from there to him getting signed and then, blowing up. So
in a sense, I could see why he say he would have died if he'd have stayed in Milwaukee.
This is true.
You know what I mean? Because you talk about your passion. You know what I mean? What you love to do. Like, where can you go? And when you find that out, you want to be where you can really blossom. You know what I mean? Into who you want to be. And if he'd have stayed here, like, it just died out, like how I do with most people.
So I don't just
say nothing against what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I can kind of see why he felt like he would have.
No, I totally got it. The nuance was, I totally got it. There's a lot of people here who say that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, man, I had to get out of Milwaukee, man. It was like a dark cloud, bro. I felt like I was finna get, I was gonna die up there. That's fine. That's totally fine, and I ain't have a problem with that. My problem is when all you do is shit on the hood, but you never give back to it. Mm-hmm. If you know that this place is this bad, right?
Why you ain't never doing nothing about it?
That's my point. So yeah, okay.
That's what I said. I'm in agreement with you.
So that was my only issue with it. It wasn't about him saying, because I'm not gonna say no, Milwaukee ain't that bad. No, hell no. But it's equivalent to that person who leaves here, blows up, and regardless of what you say, your roots was planted here. So a lot of who you are, you got from here. Like he talked about seeing culture, seeing music, seeing creativity, growing up around music. That happened here. So even just to be able to say, don't get me wrong, I mean, that's my hometown, and that's where I'm from, and I learned a lot of lessons, and I got a lot of people there, but for me personally, it wasn't where I wanted to be. It goes back to Kamar me saying it ain't what you do, is how you do it. And if we can look at you and say you've never, ever, and unless people say that's my cousin, he did this for me, I never seen him show up ever in the city again saying, hey, I want to start this program. Like, I want to come up here and do a drum program for kids, like something. But if you're going to get on TV and just shit on us, then that's where my issue arises. Like, well, fuck you then. We'll stay in Georgia. I mean, maybe it's bad for me to stay. Maybe I shouldn't be. I wasn't a fan of their music anyways. So it's not like I was like, and that's probably my bias. I talked about removing bias. He said his father had the corn stand at Summerfest for years. Absolutely. He said his dad was a serial entrepreneur, and he at one point had a nightclub, and that's where he learned how to DJ at. So that's not worth saying. That is something I got. I don't know if you like, you understand what I'm saying, Kamar? Like,
oh yeah,
where my love for music started growing up in Milwaukee. I was exposed to a lot of music and art in Milwaukee, but it got to a point where, because he referenced the crack and saying crack really, all of that was true, right and exact, right? We grew up in the same era. We saw what crack did to the city. But once again, if your criticism of the community outweighs your contribution, then you shouldn't criticize it no more. You should shut the fuck up. It's like Bill Cosby with the pound cake speech. You're going to show up and tell me what all my issues is and tell me what's wrong, but you ain't going to help. So I'm just, that was the only problem I had with it. And over the years, knowing he never has shown any love towards the city. Never, ever. Imagine how many people here still are trying to get out, or who need to get out, or who are aspired. If nothing else, you can come here right now and appeal to some of these youngsters and work with the Art Institute of Atlanta or something and say, hey, I got a scholarship there. Come on down. I don't know. Shout out to Ascot Jones in the chat room. That is my cousin. That is the author of this book. Your mindset is your greatest liability. It's available now. I had the link pinned on my Facebook page, but I tried to access it and I couldn't get to it. So, cause I need the link to the website so I can share it again. I tried to get to it so I can put the review up, but I couldn't do it. He said there are very few blacks who blow up and come back or give back outside of Rico Love, Jacob Lattimore, and very few others. Spreewell would be back in the city all the time doing things. Who else we talking? Because there ain't that many black people who done blew up from here. I was gonna say Cuckoo Cal, for what it's worth. Cuckoo was here. He always show love to the city when he gets interviewed.
Hey,
and I know
I've seen Cuckoo Cal do free shows.
Yeah.
And the proceeds, be for the, whoever, whichever organization or whatever it is he do the show for. So, like, you can give back to a community without it being financial.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could give back to a community without it being financial. You give back to the community by using your platform.
Mm-hmm.
First off, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, you know what I mean? I think I'm just saying that for people for future reference.
Yeah, and there's a number of NBA players and NFL players who are from here who come back. Remember when Liz brought the young brother who, I can't remember his name. He had been in the NBA. He had played overseas. What was his name? Kamar. He was doing the basketball camp here. Mike, you remember the show? We had the young brother on. Because he had something going. He had played for the Clippers at one point or something like that. He had made it to the NBA. He's here doing
Mike Taylor.
Mike Taylor. There you go. Yes. So he's come back, and there's been,
he always, man. Mike Taylor is heavy out here, man. He always doing something.
And for a minute, the brother who I went to King with, who ended up in the NBA for a long time, Mike Wilkes, he would do a lot of things. Hell, even Devin Harris would pop up, So I don't want them, because I'm not I'm just being objective, right? And I'm saying there are a lot of instances where people who blew up did come back. I grew up around the corner. This is gonna make y'all laugh. I grew up around the corner from Al Jarreau, right?
Mm-hmm.
Al Jarreau had won a Grammy and all he had sung on, been on Broadway. Al Jarreau did a lot of stuff. He would come back to the city and do a lot of things. He lived right around the corner from us, right on Capitol Drive. And you don't have to. If that's how you want to operate, that's fine. But I'm going to call it when I see it. I'm going to say, damn, if you know it's that bad, why you ain't reaching back? Like, the duty of the civilized man is to teach the uncivilized. So why wouldn't you throw a lifeline? You know what I'm saying? He said, outside of sports, there are not a lot of, and a lot of people who have blown up. Right. It's not like this is a hotbed for people blowing up on a Hollywood level or you know, like we don't gotta, no, it's not a hotbed for that. But that's even more of a reason for, if you do blow up, to still come back and try and do something, man. To try and help somebody, as opposed to sitting over there criticizing us. Like I'm on the front lines. I have been for years. Social services, education, workforce development. I know it's issues here. I know it. I know it's rough as fuck to grow up here. But anything I ever acquired in terms of success, no matter where I got it from, you know where I'd start giving back at? Right here in the city. That's what that's just me though, Kamar. What we just say? That's just me. And
right.
There's nothing that requires him to have to do so. But I just don't think it's going to cost you a whole lot to say, hey, man, first of all, shout out to Milwaukee. Shout out to my people who's still up there. And then tell your story. I just feel like the shit on us from beginning to end without saying anything good about the city was bogus, right? Was bogus. I'm going to give him one of them. I want to end the show tonight by dedicating whatever I can in terms of this show to Gerald Jones, who is the founder and who was the CEO, longtime CEO of WNOV, owner of Courier Communications, also owned, I believe, the Madison Times. A very progressive brother who way back realized that the power of ownership was what it's all about, right? Owned a radio station, which is very unique. Owned his own newspaper, which is very unique. I think he purchased WNOV in 1964. And for it still to be up and running, and I have my criticisms of WNOV, but what this brother did was nothing short of phenomenal. And it's stories like that come from here that people may or may not ever hear about. In that, is there a way to rise above and beyond in a place where the odds are stacked extremely against you? I believe it is. I believe that you can aspire to be something and you can get to that. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you're from. And I think he was a symbol of that. And I think he was also a symbol of what really happens when we cultivate our own power. I want to hear news regarding Black people. I want to hear music made by Black people. I want to hear about events and affairs of Black people. So I'm just going to start my own radio station. That's an ingenious move, Kamar. Mm-hmm. And that's somebody who could have moved probably somewhere else years ago and started up different stations everywhere. But how many lives were changed by working for WNOV? You know, at one point it was young brothers getting a chance to be DJs. Remember that whole connection with
he probably was just like you, couldn't, you know what I mean? Wasn't nobody hiring him on. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna do? Start my own radio station.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna feel me one way or another, right? You know, but it's the emphasis on do for self. You know what I'm saying? It's on the emphasis of no excuses, just results.
Yeah.
You know, and you can spend a million ways or reasons telling yourself why you can't do something instead of trying to come up with a million ways to tell yourself why you can do something. That's the way I look at it. So rest in peace to that brother. Condolences to his family. Like I said, I have my criticisms of WNOV, but I'm all about respect, and I respect the dead, and I also respect people who are pioneers and did something that was worth doing. So shout out to him. Peaceful journey. I believe he was 85, 87, somewhere. I actually met him one time and it is one of the most unforgettable experiences that I've had. And that's one of my old Black Panther stories when the general, when Rick General went up in there, Daryl Farmer, and Ashanti Hamilton was still at the height of his power, and they had beef, and it was about somebody said somebody gonna smack somebody, and we went into his house, and Ashanti says, "Yeah, I heard you don't like me," and the general says, "Yeah, well, I don't mess with you. I don't like you. I heard you said you was gonna slap me." The general goes, "I will," and Ashanti says, "Nigga, if you slap me, I'm gonna shoot the shit out of your big ass." and the general goes, "You ain't gonna shoot shit." And they just go to arguing, Kamar, back and forth. And Gerald Jones said, "First of all, both of y'all shut the fuck up in my house, because I shoot both of you motherfuckers." I said, God damn. I said I shouldn't be at this meeting. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was one, and that meeting is memorable. I would, that's gonna have to be in a book if I ever write one. Because I remember being in there like, I don't know if I should be here or not. I don't know if I should be hearing some of the stuff I'm hearing. It was that crazy, Kamar. Earl Henning said his mother had the money. I heard that. Some other stuff with him that I know, but I'm not gonna talk about it because it was just about acknowledging his passing. Hey, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in, man, for supporting us on Outlaw Radio. Make sure you pick up my cousin's book. I'm going to get this link back up for y'all. It's a great read. Your Mindset is Your Greatest Liability. It's a dope read. I'm trying to tell you, it's a Swiss Army knife of a manual for young Black males to understand how what they learned and what they saw growing up in the hood has affected their mind state and how it can be something that holds you back. So, get the book. Kamar, you got something coming up this weekend, or what you got popping?
We got the House of Vitality coming up, and my baby girl graduating from the 8th grade this weekend.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. I don't know. It's kind of fun to do it on Thursday night. I don't know. I've been flirting with the idea of adding another show and another night for the show. I don't know. I think it's something that I think about, but if I do add another night, I want it to be something different than what we normally do. And so I'm looking for some inspiration. That's why I'm always trying to collaborate with people, because I want to bring fresh ideas, right? Mm-hmm. But this is another situation with Milwaukee where it's a city of silos, man. And the spirit of collaboration is, you got to be with the right clique and the right, this kind of thing. So it's one of the issues, but God will make a way, right? I always say, I'm not going to get anything I'm not supposed to have, and I'm not going to lose anything that I'm supposed to have, right? And my whole point with speech, and anybody who achieves any success and truly understands the plight of Black people in this city, I challenge you to give back, right? We ain't too big to say, hey, we need help in this city. We need some difference makers. Now, I know that the onus is a lot of times people from here say, see, they don't support in Milwaukee like they should. So I went somewhere else and I blew up. Okay, that's fine too. But then why continue that cycle? Be the type of person that will come back here and say, hey, I got a little influence and I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna throw you some ribbons. It's just like people who grow up in the hood, blow up, get a little money, move somewhere in the suburbs, and then be like, them people, those people, you people, as if they're not a part of us. Those people usually fuck around and find out and have a nigga moment. Well, I thought I was somebody. No, you still just a nigga in this country. Okay? So my whole point is, hey, man, if you've been blessed enough to overcome, it's always good. And like Kamar said, it don't even got to be, I'm going to get $3 million. You might just meet some youngster here. Come back here and mentor a couple dudes. Come back once a year and say, I'm going to go and talk to some kids in the schools, man. And let them know about my journey. And let me tell them why I left. Let me tell them about I felt like I was going to die. So I understand what y'all going through. See the impact that makes? Simply because at the end of the day, if your criticism of the community, right, outweighs your contribution to the community, we already know, and you already know how we look at you. and it's not positive. As a matter of fact, we would commonly refer to you as a coon. I will see y'all Monday, man. Peace and love. Y'all keep y'all head on the swivel if you out here in these Milltown streets. Look, man.